What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and I'm back here for another one. And right now, I am riding solo dolo, but EM does say he should be here shortly. So until then, I do have some things I want to talk about before we get into the game preview. First thing first, I'm gonna shout out every single one of you guys. So shout out to Jeff Wilson, shout out to Chad. I know he was here earlier. Shout out to Havoc. Shout out to Rhino Sith. Shout out to Jason Greaves, Dolphin82, Chef Jew. What's good? Justin's Pro Football Scouting Analysis. What's good, homie? Dolphin82. What's good? Troy Hicks. Fins up, brother. Fake Spike 94. What's going on? Infinite Trauma. What's good, homie? How you doing tonight? And then let's hammer out a few other things here because usually I do them in the middle of the show. Might as well do them now. What's good, Jazza? How you doing tonight, brother? So, guys, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, because we're going to get into it tonight. Let's get to 1,400. We're only about like 13 away last time I checked. Let's get there. If you'd like to donate to the channel, of course, you can do it straight through the super chat. You can also donate at paypal.me/Phinside. And if you want to become a Patreon member, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL, guys. We've got multiple levels there. We've got a $5 level. We've got a $10 level. We've got a $15 level. Of course, we've got a $20 level. There's different perks to each level. Go check it out. Go see if anything interests you. Go make the most of those perks if you do sign up. And just shout out to all of our Patreons who are already, there. Red Dino. Of course, we got Big Time, Slim Pickens, Miguel Angel Hernandez, Mr. Two Bits. We got Seth. We got Ramon Casillas, Kyle. We got KA All Day, Joe B, Shake Money. And since EM ain't here, Shake. We got Fake Spike 94. And of course, the OGs, the originals, the first patrons this channel ever had, Rhino Sith and Infinite Trauma. What's good, boys? Yeah, guys, go check it out. Go do what you got to do. If anything over there interests you, sign on up, boys. Pyromancer, what's good? Yes, just like school. We did just start. Yeah, no problem, Chad. You're here. You're one of the first people consistently always here, so got to show that love. You know what I mean? I know we're going a little bit later than usual tonight, guys, and that is because I pushed it back due to EM scheduling a little bit. So thanks, Havoc. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked it out, I dropped the second episode of On the Phinside. Sorry, On the Phinside. The Finish Line today. You got me all messed up, Havoc. I dropped the Finish Line today, episode 2. It's called the QB Race. I'm going to tell y'all, don't listen to me. Don't listen to any of these people on any social media platform. Go listen to what Richmond Webb had to say about the quarterback position. You're going to get my opinion in just a few minutes here because that's going to be what we're going to jump right into. But before we get into the preview and all that jazz, but I will say, man, go listen to what Richmond had to say. You know what I mean? Richmond Webb lays it down for all of y'all. Even Mr. Ballgame. Y'all know Ballgame's the host, much co-host with us. Much love to Mr. Ballgame. He already knows what it is. Y'all already know what time it is. But yeah, go check out, don't listen to any of us. I'm imploring every single one of you. Go listen because, I want y'all, that intro alone is worth y'all going over there and peeping the Phinside, the finish line that I got rolling over there. Because that intro, I selected that song. I picked out the guy who's going to lay out his voice. I told him what to lay out. That was all me, man. And that thing's a beautiful intro. I don't care what anyone says right now. That's got one of the hottest audio intros in the game. Yeah, so go check that out, man. I ain't lying. Hit that. Go over there, show some love. I even gave my first ever Manscaped promo. Hint, hint, wink, wink. To what be coming to this channel real soon. But I gave my first Manscaped. You're going to hear your boys Reason's first ever promotional ad on air. So go check that out too if you just want to giggle, man. But let's go over that quick just because I want to show people, in case they don't really know what's good. You can find it on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. All you're going to do, man, you're going to go search Dolphins Brawl. You're going to go under Dolphins Brawl. Right here, the top episode right now. It's an hour long. I got Richmond Webb, my co-host. Not only that, I got him to talk for an hour with me in ball game. So it was a beautiful thing. This podcast is something special about it. I can feel it in the air. So just go check that out. You can see right there, it's called the QB Race. Y'all are gonna love it. Trust me. You know what? Let me peep y'all. You know what? I'm in a flavorful mood with all of y'all tonight. So, I'm gonna show y'all that intro because that intro is absolutely fire. So give me a second. Let me line that up. Let me show y'all what's really good out here. Hold on a sec. You know what? Let me show it. I'll show y'all. Give me a sec here, guys. Because I'm proud of that thing. That thing is a work of art, man. I love that thing. So it's just so perfect. It's literally just so perfect. So, and if it don't get you hyped up and want to go check out this podcast, I don't know what will. All right. So I'm giving y'all this teaser just to entice y'all to go check that out. All right, we're going to do this real quick for y'all. Real quick. Okay? Take y'all there. If this doesn't make y'all want to go,
you're listening to a Brawl Network production. This is The Finish Line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. Ballgame.
y'all hear that? Did that work, guys? Let me know in the comments. I'm out here acting like it worked. Let me know. Yeah, people still arguing about this. It's just ridiculous. We'll get into it. Because I just can't believe that people are actually, I can't believe people are actually out here having this discussion. Let's jump right into it, I guess. Guys, I'm seeing people out here. This narrative's beginning again. At first, the narrative was trying to be spun at the beginning of training camp. He's a bust, da-da-da-da-da. Then it turned into, and that was just based off 2 practices. Then he came back and he shut all those people up with some pretty good practices. Then what did it turn into? People still those Rosen truthers are still trying to cling on to Josh Rosen as a starter. And you were hearing, Josh Rosen's going to start off as the number 2 quarterback. It's Fitz's job. It's Fitz's job to lose to Rosen, all this jazz. What happened? Rosen got released. All right. Then people are trying to spin this narrative. Oh, well, if he doesn't come out of training camp as the number 1 day 1 starter, he's got to be a bust. He's not worth the number 5 overall pick. Look at Joe Burrow. Okay, well, if he was in the same position Joe Burrow was in, that means they would have traded Ryan Fitzpatrick in the offseason. We didn't do that. All right, let's continue on. So that got deaded real quick, especially after games 2 and 3 of how Fitz played against Buffalo and against Jacksonville, especially against Jacksonville. All the chatter quiet up, but y'all know what they were doing. They're waiting for the first minute, the first bad throw, whatever you want to say, for them to hop on board to that again right there. And so now what has it turned into? Oh, the Dolphins are 1 and 3. They just lost. What's going on? Why isn't Tua starting? Tua must be a bust. Tua must not be the guy who everyone said he was or who we thought he was. Are y'all for real? Is this actually happening in this world right now? Are people this uneducated? Do people not understand what goes into this decision? Oh, well, look at Justin Herbert right now. They went with him. They went with him. They took the chance, and now they named him the number one. Why are we doing that with Tua? Because guess what? First of all, Fitz's lung didn't get punctured. That's number one. Second of all, you know what is anyone not noticing a pattern here? We have a luxury, and I'm not calling Fitzpatrick a luxury. I'm saying the fact that we have appreciate you, James. I'm not saying Fitzpatrick himself is a luxury, but we have the luxury of a guy with 15 years of experience, who have 5 of those, 15 plus, 5 of those have come in this current offensive scheme, one that's evolved over the years, but the fundamentals, the foundations of it. Not only has Chan Gailey been with them, but if people did their research, our quarterback coach was with them when they were in New York too. So he's got ties not only to Flores, but he's got ties to basically the new staff they brought in, and ties that run deep. And I get he had a bad game. I'm not denying that. That's why I said I understand why they would go with Tua, but I also understood the same reason of why they would stick with Fitz. They're looking, guys, here's the thing. All right, I'm going to put this in the most simplest form, and I want y'all to really say, because this is literally going to sum it up, and this is the best way anyone can sum it up. I want y'all to tell you this, okay? You want to know the bottom line reason why Fitz is starting and why Tua isn't? Okay? If any of y'all listen to X's and Omar, what did he say? I'll give y'all literally 15, 20 seconds in the comments. If y'all watch X's and Omar, what did he say about Tua in the playbook? Go ahead. I'm going to see if anyone else remembers what he said. That's all I'm going off of right here. I'm not trying to be condescending or anything. I'm just saying I'm giving y'all a chance. If anyone saw it, if everyone didn't see it, then okay, I'll tell y'all. I'm literally giving y'all a second. If anyone saw X's and Omar, tell everyone what Omar said about the playbook in Tua right now. All right, I'm guessing no one saw X's and Omar. Shout out to all of y'all. I love it. There you go. I'm seeing them pop up. There you go. Jason Greaves, Carlos, Fitzpatrick. Okay, so let's put it in this. So let's see, okay? So I don't know if y'all saw the discussion I had today with some guy in the comments on our last video, but I mean, some of these people you can't get through to. They think they know something, but I'm surprised they can they have the intellectual capability to actually find the game on a channel, let alone turn on their TV. But here we go. And that's just the honest to God truth, because I'm getting sick of this. It's ridiculous. And our whole platform is to educate people. People just shut up and listen. And I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about these haters. They just shut up and listen to what we say. We've been pretty right. So anyways, let's go. Let's keep going here. This is the difference between Tua Tagovailoa, and I got evidence, between Tua Tagovailoa and Ryan Fitzpatrick right now. Okay? Right now, Tua Tagovailoa is the better thrower of the football. He's the better passer. Oh, but reason. What evidence do you have? Straight from the horse's mouth, what did Ryan Fitzpatrick say? He said, Tua Tagovailoa can make 1 million throws I can't make. Exact quote. Literally from Ryan Fitzpatrick's mouth. Literally. Okay? So, let's go to what you guys were just saying who watched X's and Omar, because I mentioned it on the podcast today on the QB race. So some of y'all cheated, but I love y'all anyways, because that lets me know y'all listen to the podcast. X's and Omar Kelly said that from what he understands from someone in the organization, close to the players, Tua Tagovailoa knows 40% of the playbook right now. Around 40% of the playbook. Okay? Now, if any of y'all have gone back and watched the All-22 on Justin Herbert, the playbook's dumbed down. You can clearly tell if you watch how the offense is operating. It's very simple, a lot of short underneath routes. He gets one guy maybe where it's going to the, to the deep levels, 20 yards beyond, maybe. But a lot of it is spread out, short, simple stuff. Nothing overly complicated. And I'm pretty sure I don't have to be in that room, but I can tell y'all right now the route trees aren't that complicated either. Okay? That's just the nature of the game, especially with no present snaps. Now, flip over to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I can guarantee you there's more of the playbook open than what Herbert is right now, okay? The thing that is I can almost guarantee you Zach Taylor ain't opening up 100% of his playbook yet. Again, no preseason snaps. I'm telling you, it's basic limited installs. Let me put it this way. With Joe Burrow, yeah, they're opening it up a little more each week, but they're not like, here's a quarter of the playbook now because we just won a game. Let's open it up. No. What they're saying, small, what they're asking you, they're trying new things in practice, seeing stuff that computes with them easily, and they will actually ask the quarterbacks, how did you feel about running that? And they'll get a feel of their comfortability with running that stuff, and stuff they're not comfortable with, they'll keep trying to install week in week until they get comfortable with, okay? All I'm sitting here and saying is they're limited right now. All right? And now Joe Burrow's far beyond Herbert, and that's because he had way more works with the ones. Now you're asking a guy, okay, in Tua Tagovailoa, no preseason games until the last week and a half, 2 weeks, he had barely limited any reps with the ones. Okay, fact. All right? You got a guy who we told every single person after we drafted him that Fitz was going to start. Why? Do I really have to take people down memory lane? Okay, I will. I said, me and EM both said, okay, on our platform and on other platforms, hint, hint, wink, wink, that what would have to happen? He would have to be as good, if not better than Fitz in the QB room on the chalkboard. Did we not? Yes, we did. We said he would have to show his athleticism, show he's the most athletic guy in the room. I think he already showed that when you talk about the big sprints and runoffs he had in 11-11s, and when people in these player Zoom interviews that I sit in on talk about his athleticism. He was literally called a superior athlete by one of his teammates yesterday. Literally called a superior athlete. Okay? Number two. Number three, we said he was going to have to grasp the terminology, right? He's going to have to get up to speed because there's going to be different things, even if a lot of the stuff was similar to what was being run at Alabama. We said he was going to have to grasp the playbook, okay? And grasping the playbook does not mean 40%, guys, okay? Let's put that into context, too. I didn't know I had to be more specific and say he needs to grasp 100% of the playbook. Grasping the playbook means you understand the playbook. You need to be comfortable with it. We also said he needs to get acclimated to the game speed. Again, no preseason reps. Even if they're against 2 3s or jabroni 4s, they still matter, okay? That's how you get your comfort level up and your confidence level, right? Now, I'm going through this checklist. We also said he had to become comfortable with his weapons and his receivers, okay? Last I checked, like I just said, he only had about a week and a half, 2 weeks with the ones. And like I said last stream, are people really forgetting that the reason Mac Hollins has a job, the reason why Malcolm Perry popped off, the reason the guy who helped Myles Gaskin really make a move up the ladder in the running back room during training camp, all those 3 are because of Tua. All those 3 got those places off reps with Tua. Oh, you got to be doing something, right? It's coming down to the playbook because this is what it is, guys. Right now, Tua Tagovailoa is the better passer. You could probably even make the argument he's probably the better quarterback, but he's not the better NFL player. Well, reason, those are the same thing. No, they're not. Not to the casual person, not to someone who uses their mind and thinks a little bit. Okay? We use 10% of your brain. You shouldn't even have to use 1% of your brain to figure that out. Okay? And it's sad if you do. That's what I'm going to follow that up with. All right. Anyways, so let's continue this. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you got a guy who's been around for 15 years. He's been in multiple offenses, especially this one that he's currently in. He's been in multiple offenses. He's seen multiple disguise coverages. He's seen basically everything pre-snap and post-snap you can throw at him. All this stuff. Okay? He's seen basically all the exotics you can throw at a quarterback. All right? And guess what? On top of all that, guess what he does, guys? He understands 100% of the playbook. 100%. Not 40, 100%. That's why he's saying Tua's not ready yet. That's exactly why he's telling you. And you want me to take it even deeper? I'll take it even deeper than that. If you go back to his Zoom session a couple nights ago, when Brian Flores, a couple days ago, when Brian Flores was out here talking about Tua Tagovailoa, and when he was talking about the injury, when he brought up the injury and how, if it was your own son, well, what did he say after that? He said, I treat all of these kids like my sons, like my family. Sorry, I think was the proper word. Like my family, I think was the proper word. All right. So you got a guy who knows 40% of the playbook, reportedly. Okay. Which isn't that far-fetched because, like I just said, go watch the tape on Herbert. Go watch the tape on Burrow. Yes, Burrow's more advanced, but their offenses are dumbed down right now. Okay. I've literally have what? 5 offensive playbooks in my Dropbox right now, NFL. And I have about 9 defensive playbooks. Now they go back. I literally have the 2006 Miami Dolphins defensive playbook in my Dropbox right now. Okay. So I've actually read NFL level playbooks. And this is what I told EM. You read a defensive playbook at the NFL, it's college level math. You know what I mean? Like it's up there. You go read an offensive playbook in the NFL, it's freaking trigonometry. Period. All right? There was stuff I couldn't understand in a couple of playbooks because you clearly had to be in on the meetings to understand some of the terminology they were using. So, this isn't an easy thing to grasp. So that's where I'm at with that. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting here crying. Mahomes didn't start right away. Was Dan Marino a bust because he didn't start right away? Like, it's ridiculous that people are having this narrative. You got a guy who said, I'll go back to it. He said that I treat these players like they're my family. You got a quarterback that knows 40% of the playbook. What's he probably thinking to himself? There's a couple things that are factoring in, guys. Again, you don't have to use a lot of brain power to think about this, all right? You got to just put yourself in the position of Brian Flores and what I just told y'all he said on his Zoom, not today, a couple days ago when he was talking about Tua Tagovailoa not being when he's talking about the injury part, not what he said about not being ready, but what he said about I think it was like 3 days ago when he talked about the injury. And, when he said, if it was your son, would you want – anyways. So not only has he said that these players are his family, he said, okay, he brought up the whole injury thing, right? I didn't buy the injury narrative at all, but I do think he at least wants to see the year mark. Here's what I think it is. I think he knows 40% of the playbook. Flores' issue is right now – he could ride out Fitz, and if Fitz blows it, everyone's going to blame Fitz. No one's going to blame Flores. Okay? Now, if he brings Tua in and Tua gets hurt, or if you bring in a guy who knows 40% of the playbook and he's not up to speed with disguised and exotic coverages, which not a lot of rookies are. Now, all of a sudden, you're putting him in a position to not be that successful, and you only still win as many games as you would have rode with Fitz, and what happens? Now people are calling for your job, and they're calling for Tua's head. So, I understand why he could be hesitant until he's 100% caught up to speed with the playbook. He's not wanting to put – and here's the thing. He also probably not only realizes the pressure on him, but the pressure on Tua himself. So it could be detrimental to both him and the quarterback that only knows 40% of the playbook right now. Like, that's what people aren't really thinking of here. What's going on, Chef Jew? What's going on, Powerhouse? What's good, Nico? That's what people aren't taking into consideration here. All these different factors, man. And then people are going to run with it. Oh, Reason said Fitzpatrick's a better NFL player. Yes, because being a better football player and being a better NFL player are two totally different things. Two totally different things. You could have a guy who goes out against grown men, even NFL caliber guys, but just goes up and plays a pickup game on a football field and lights it up. Then he goes to the NFL and he can't understand a damn word with the playbook. So, I mean, that's just what it is. It's unbelievable that people aren't understanding all the stuff that goes into this decision. Because here's another thing, guys, and we'll get into it. They're so beat up right now, the 49ers, that for a guy who knows 100% of your offense, a guy who's better pre-snap, post-snap than your rookie, a guy who understands what to do when he sees an exotic look or when he sees something totally different after the ball snaps than what he saw pre-snap, this could be a chance for that guy to bounce back. Now, if he doesn't bounce back, then you're probably going to be, then they could probably be getting into forcing it. And so that's why a part of me is hoping that Fitz shows up and shows out this week. If he's telling me, if the report is Tua only knows 40% of the playbook, I'm good. Talk to me when we're at 80, 90%. And we're 4 weeks in. 80, 90% could only be week 8. Guys, we're not winning the Super Bowl. I mean, let's be honest with yourself. I mean, and another thing that, a lot of publications came out with their power rankings today. For the most part, the Buffalo Bills guys and the Seattle Seahawks were in the top 5, and the lowest I saw the Patriots ranked was 12th. So our 3 losses, if I take the lowest ranking, are to 2 top 5 teams and a team just outside of number 10 in a lot of people's power rankings today. Not like we're out here losing. And the even better thing is last year we lost by an average of 39 points per game. This year, in those 3 losses, we only lost of an average of 7 points. And let's be honest again, in the Patriots game, if the run defense, especially the run defense, but if the defense as a whole would have given us more than 1 minute and 25 in the third quarter to sustain an offense, we probably wouldn't have lost by 11. So we just lost to the Seattle Seahawks, a legitimate NFC Championship contender, by 8 points. And Fitzpatrick did not have a good game. Now, Fitz had a pretty good game against Buffalo, and we only lost by 3, and it took Josh Allen putting up over 400 yards and having literally a career passing day against us, and Stephon Diggs putting that boy Noah out on the rotisserie. NYC Kane, I can't really say that his learning clip is 10% per week. It's going to become easier. I was reading something on more on it today, actually. Cameron Wolf had a really good piece on it. And basically what they were talking about was everything I've been telling you guys about how when Fitz is on the field, he's right next to Flores. He's listening to the play call and he's looking at the coverage. He's looking at his wristband. and he's basically calling out what he would do on that play. And then when Fitz is back on the sideline, he's sitting next to Fitz going over the tape on the iPad or whatever. And then what else did he say? Cameron said something interesting in regards to the whole learning curve for Fitz today. What was it? What did he say? Oh, well, something else. If you guys watched the Jerome Baker Zoom yesterday, a very interesting thing. You could tell he's trying to pick up that learning curve. A very interesting thing. If you watched Jerome Baker Zoom yesterday, which I sat in on, if you would have been following me on Twitter at _real_reason, you would have seen it live as it's happening. Jerome Baker said that Tua Tagovailoa after every practice, and guys, remember, there's only 14 padded practices you're allowed all regular season, guys. I want that number to sink in for you guys. You're only allowed 14 padded practices all season. Think about that for a second. Think about that. Think of how much they're spread out and how little of amount of time you have to show off and show out. Think about that for a sec. 14 padded practices all year. There's 17 weeks. That's not even one a week. Think about that for a sec. So, no, according to some people, Tua's still learning does not mean he's a bust, man. Look at what I just said, man. He only had about a week and a half, 2 weeks of working with the ones. You know what I mean? Look, put it in the further context. All these people out here who are Rosentruthers, okay? Your boy had last year's training camp, had preseason snaps, had live regular season snaps, and had more training camp snaps this year with the ones. Tua's had far less snaps with the ones, and guess what happened? Josh sitting in the mask on the practice squad, sitting in the stands with the mask on, watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play live. Think about that for a sec. Okay? That should put into context that they saw enough talent from Tua to be like, oh God damn. Okay? For them to say, you know what? In a COVID era, we don't need someone who's familiar with our weapons, who somewhat knows the installs, who has some familiarity with the playbook, who knows the coaching staff. They said, bye. I mean, and then people, well, it's a conspiracy. It's politics. They want Tua to start. Okay. If they were that eager to get Tua to start, why isn't he starting? Just saying, because here's the thing too, guys. Last year, there were no expectations with that team. This year, there are expectations with this team. All right? And the problem with those expectations now being in place somewhat because of the roster turnover is, and I'm talking internally, is Flores legitimately and them legitimately want to win. Legitimately. If the season's a wash, I'm sure you're going to see Tua. 110%. But I think they think right now the guy who knows 100% of the playbook, he gives us the best chance to win. Does that not make sense? Does that not make sense? The guy that knows 100% of the playbook as opposed to the guy who knows 40% of the playbook gives us the better chance to win. Who would have thought, huh? Who would have thought? Spank my ass and call me Charlie. What a crazy thought. So unreal that people are even, on that side, man. I don't get it. You got people just looking, just looking for shock value and to see if they can hit one of those shock calls on the nail on the head, and they just keep missing with the hammer. And these people right now, I'm going to tell y'all, Tua comes out and balls out game one, damn, y'all going to look real stupid real quick. Like, And that's it. Powerhouse, we're only 4 games in. The season isn't lost. Again, all 3 of the teams we lost to, as it stands right now, currently looking at the standings, are playoff contenders. I mean, is this really a crazy... you know what I mean? And again, we lost by an average of 7 points. We've only lost once by double digits. And really, it's only 2 scores if you convert an 8-point because you get in the 8 and the 3. So we haven't even lost a game by 2 touchdowns. Now, has Fitz had errant throws he's got away with? Sure. I agree with that. Mainly against Seattle's poor. He had a couple against New England, but I mean, no one wants to give him credit for Gesicki should have been called for DPI and Preston Williams slipping on his route. Yeah, Pyro. It's not about beating. Yeah, I get what you're saying, bro. These fools. It's not even about beating out Fitz at this point. It's about understanding the playbook. I mean, that's clearly painfully obvious, man. So I just don't. People need to calm their tits right now. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. That I'm even having to come out here and talk about this, man. So I'm at the point where the fact we're even talking about these kind of, I mean, people are literally throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks, and I mean, they're setting themselves up where if he is a bust, I was right, I called it, but what if he's not? What if he is who a lot of us said he was? Like I gotta, I gotta call him out right now. And I'm not gonna put him on the same level as the other as that clown y'all know I'm referring to. But Larry, bro, what's going on, bro? I watched the first 10 minutes of your Tua thing yesterday, and I saw you say you were 90% sure he was a franchise quarterback, and that dropped down to 50-50 when you haven't even seen him take a live rep, and you clearly weren't taking into account everything I just said. Come on, man. All I'm going to say is don't be like that other side, Larry. Be better than that, bro. I mean, that's dropping 40%. That's a rash drop, bro. And you haven't even seen a live rep. And all the new footage we saw leak was phenomenal. So, man, y'all need to come up off that ledge. This is ridiculous. Y'all haven't even, given this you literally haven't even given it a chance. It's hilarious. People are out here calling him a bust and they haven't even given him a chance. It's ridiculous to me. It's people aren't even giving it a chance and calling this guy a bust. And the best thing about this is, and this isn't about you, Larry. Sorry, let me just close something down. This isn't about you, Larry. Now I'm on to other people, okay? The best thing about this is, and even the bust comment wasn't about you, Larry, because I never said you called him a bust, so that wasn't about you. Just that little thing about the percentage, Larry. You gotta relax, brother. Take a shot of whiskey. Everything's gonna be all right, bro. But anyways, the other people, and they're on multiple platforms, not just YouTube. The other people, the other people are kind of, they're reaching, man. You're reaching for this kid to be a bust. I mean, the fact that people haven't even seen a snap and they're trying to be out here, call him a bust, imply he's a bust, try and spin a narrative that he might be a bust. And y'all haven't even seen him take a snap. Y'all haven't even seen him take a live snap. And you know what's the best thing about this? Some of these people were Rosen truthers. Some of these people watched Rosen play the regular season games he did, and they thought he was the future, or they thought he was a franchise quarterback. They saw those snaps that he put on film And they at one point or another said this guy we don't need a quarterback. You can ride Rosen, da-da-da-da-da. And some of those are the same people already trying to imply that Tua was a bust. So either A, you don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks, which, I mean, that would probably be the most obvious one. B, you want Tua to fail because your butt hurt Josh Rosen's in a Tampa Bay uniform. Or C, you're putting your ego over the logo and you just want to be right because you were so wrong about Josh Rosen. And this is multiple people. This is not one person. Let me make that very clear. And this is on multiple platforms, not just one platform, because there's dark sides to every platform in this Dolphin fan base, it seems. So, it's crazy to me, man. Like, it's absolutely crazy to me that people want to be out here, label this kid a bust. He hasn't even taken a snap. It's reported he knows only 40% of the playbook, and that's the reason. Fitzpatrick said himself, Tua Tagovailoa can make 1 million throws I can't make. It's not a question of talent, people. It's a question of the playbook right now. 40% of the playbook. Again, all these people who are watching Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, let's leave Andy Dalton being traded out of there and them not having anything out of the equation. Let's leave Justin Herbert needing the quarterback one to get punctured in the lung for him to start. Let's leave all that out there. Joe Burrow just won his first game, okay? Justin Herbert hasn't won yet. Let's not even count that. If y'all watched Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, and like I said before, Joe Burrow's clearly, it's opened a little bit more, but neither one of those playbooks are opened up to their full capacity right now, especially Justin Herbert. It's a very dumbed down, simplified offense when you watch the Chargers right now. So, it's real crazy. It's real crazy to me. No one's berating everyone, David. You need to literally drop the balls out of your vagina right now. No one's berating anyone, bro. Calm yourself. But I am going to call bullshit. And being 90% confident and going from 50 and dropping down all the way to 50% confidence when you haven't seen the kid take a snap. I don't know what kind of logic or reasons behind that. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense, especially when I've already explained exactly why he's not starting yet. So, it's not a question of whether he can be a franchise quarterback. Brian Flores does not want to trot out a kid who only knows 40% of the playbook. And kudos to him. When you've got a guy who knows 100% of the playbook, again, has comfort with all these weapons, all these receivers, all these running backs, all these linemen, et cetera, et cetera. He's better pre-snap and post-snap than any rookie quarterback we could name that's starting right now. He can recognize disguised coverages and exotic packages better than any rookie quarterback we can name right now. That's it. And like I told y'all, they're only 1-3, so the season isn't lost to them. Now, if they're 1-5, oh yeah, then I can see we got a problem. I think 50-60% they'll trot him out there. Because the season's lost. The expectations are gone. It's known. It's pretty much over with. You're not going to rifle off 9 in a row. So, yeah, that's just where I'm at with that. It's, yes, Stevie, I called 10. Rhino, Flores. And look at this, guys. And the expectations of fan bases right now. It's absolutely crazy right now. And when you go look, take Dwayne Haskins for an example. Dwayne Haskins actually, I'm trying to bring it up here for you guys. When you look at Dwayne Haskins, when you take his overall numbers into context right now, compared to some other quarterbacks, here's a perfect example. Daniel Jones is 0-4. He's got 889 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Dwayne Haskins is 1-3, 939 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, what's going on here, right? I mean, let's look at Josh Allen and Dwayne Haskins. Now, Josh Allen took the leap we all took, but if you go look in their first 11 starts, Josh Allen against Dwayne Haskins, Josh Allen's got 163 out of 305 for 53.4, 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Dwayne Haskins in his first 11, 196 for 327, 59.1 completion percentage, 2,164 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And Dwayne Haskins is getting benched. So some of the expectations out here are unreal. And I think that's another reason why you're not going to see him till he's at least when he knows. Okay, here's the thing. Let me put it this way. If Fitzpatrick gives you competent football play at the quarterback position, you probably won't see Tua till he knows 100%. Now, if Fitz blows it this weekend, it's probably going to be seriously discussed. I'm not going to sit here and say they'll go with him. I'm not going to sit there and say that. And then, if he gives you competent play, but we're winning and losing, you know what I mean? Like, we go 2-3 or 2-4. We win one, lose one, win one, and then lose 2. And, Tua knows 80% of the playbook, you're probably going to see him. Okay, but you're not by choice. You probably wouldn't see this kid till he knows 100% of the playbook. Now, are things going to fall differently than that? They very well could, 110%. But I wanted to also say, shout out to you, Larry, wherever you are. Shout out to FinFan's panel. Just Larry, let's come down off that ledge, brother. Don't get off that 90% all the way down to 50% when you haven't even seen a snap yet, bro. Okay? You're not like some of these other clowns out here, so don't be doing what they do, brother. All right? Yo, what's good, Em?
What's going on, man?
Sorry, bro. I just went on literally almost an hour rant about this whole Tua thing. I even had to shout out the homie Larry and say, hey, man, going down from 90%, being sure he's going to be a franchise quarterback for 50%, too big of a leap when you haven't seen a snap yet. And there's way too much you got to take into context. So,
yeah, it's unfortunate that, I just.
Now, he's not calling him a bust. Other people are actually out here calling and implying Tua is a bust, and those are the people I got real issues with.
No, yeah. Yeah, I listened to Larry the last couple of days, and I mean, it's his opinion. Hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but the issue I have is, they haven't even seen a snap from this guy. I mean, no one has. This guy hasn't played a down in the NFL, and are already, just because he's taken a little longer to acclimate to NFL, to everything that comes with the NFL, and they're immediately calling him a bust. And again, I think it's, I think a lot of these people, bro, we talked about this privately. They're just so blinded by their subjective opinion about Ryan Fitzpatrick as a player. I think a good portion of our fan base, they have this negative. They just don't think Fitz is that good, okay? And they automatically make the assumption that any rookie coming in, to the NFL should automatically beat out Fitz, and especially after Josh Rosen couldn't do it last year. So they have a low opinion of Fitz as a player, which is, I get, his inconsistencies throughout his career, but Fitz is not trash, and he's not a bad quarterback like a lot of people want to make him out to be. A lot of people in our fan base want to make him out to be. So at the end of the day, they're impatient. I get I want to see Tua just like everybody else, but I want to see Tua in the ideal situation. I don't want to see him out there when he's only grasping, 40% of the playbook, however the percentage is. That's nowhere near enough for you to throw a player out there, especially, again, and I keep telling people, this staff, this organization believes that they can win now. They are in win now. I don't care what nobody says. You know, do not make the moves that they made in the offseason coming into this year thinking that, oh, well, no, we're just still in the middle of rebuilding. No, that's not I don't think that's the mindset of this coaching staff. I don't think it's the mindset of Brian Flores. So Tua is just not up to speed. He's just not, obviously he's the better talent. We all know that. We all know this. But physical talent is only half the battle. It's another, NFL players will tell you that. Everybody's talented in the NFL, but what separates the good players from everybody else is the mental aspect of the game. And Tua is just not completely caught up yet. And it's okay. It's not an indictment on a kid as a player. It's okay. So people just need to pump the brakes, stop with this nonsense. But the ones that are driving this narrative about Tua Tagovailoa being a quote-unquote bust, these are the main ones that didn't want him here in the first place. Mm-hmm. They wanted this is what blows me away. Please, somebody, reason you or somebody in the comment section, please explain this logic to me. They saw these same individuals saw Josh Rosen for 2 years, 1 year in Arizona, 1 year, a full year here down in Miami.
And hold on, let's be honest, most of them only paid attention while he was here, but continue.
But they got 2 year sample size of this guy, but yet these are the ones that wanted to further. They wanted the Miami Dolphins to continue an investment with this player, right? And we saw how horrible he was and is. But yet they haven't seen Tua Tagovailoa, but yet they haven't seen him take one snap, but yet they want to call him a bust. Please explain that logic to me. I mean, really, let's be real. Let's keep it 100. Please explain that to me. So at the end of the day, these people out here trying to drive this narrative about him, but they didn't want him here in the first place. And that's fine. Your opinion is whatever. But at the end of the day, we have to let this situation play out. Let it play out. We will know soon enough, okay? What Tua is, how this coaching staff feels about him. I personally think there is no concern for me with Tua Tagovailoa's being the long-term solution to the Miami Dolphins' problems at that position. So let's let it play out. Let's pump the brakes as the fan base. Let it play out, and we'll see what happens.
And Nico hit it on the head, bro. Some of these people, and they know who they are, they wanted Isaiah Simmons. And we all know how that's going right now, bro.
Oh, my God. He's horrible. Absolutely horrible. The same problem Jerome Baker has. Same issues Jerome Baker has. Yeah. They're trying to play this player, undersized player. And if you go back even to TD's platform, what did I say? This kid is going to struggle if they try to kick him inside, especially, and they're a 34 base team as well. And he's struggling mightily. Mm-hmm. So this is ridiculous. Listen, I'm not telling people what to listen to, who to listen to, or whatever. But at the end of the day, man.
We hope their common sense does, though. But anyway.
Exactly. I just want everybody to learn how to navigate through the foolishness. That's all. Yeah. Period.
Yeah. Oh, and y'all best believe this. Actually, you know what? I ain't even going to drop it. I already said it on Twitter. Y'all can probably find it on Twitter. All you got to know is when the change happens, the breakdown will be here. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, man. So, what else can we really say about the whole quarterback situation right now? Like, it's unreal. You know what I mean?
We just got to let it play out, man. Let it play. We're a quarter of a season in the books.
Bro, everyone
4 games in, bro.
Everyone wanted to trust the process with Flores after last season. But now, all of a sudden, because we took a quarterback at 5, no one wants to trust the process.
Yeah, they wanted to trust the process with Josh Rosen at the helm. Really? Really? Come on, man. Stop this foolishness. I tell you, it really is. It's infuriating to me, man. I want to get out there and I want to call out everybody. But listen, everybody at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But us as a fan base, we have to learn to navigate and see, use common sense, number one, and then again, learn to navigate, and see through people, see what their true motives are. Because at the end of the day, people that wanted Josh Rosen, that said Josh Rosen is our future quarterback after 2 throws, they still are trying somehow. You know what I mean? Because if Tua turns out to bust, God forbid, they're going to be the first one. Oh, I told you this. They're trying to prove themselves right, which is ridiculous at the end of the day. And I think it's irresponsible with people with platforms. Your objective shouldn't be to sit up on live streams and, to your subscriber base, just sit up and try to prove you right. The objective is to bring objective information to everyone. Period. That's the objective. I know
so
that's mine.
So they can formulate their own opinions.
Exactly. At least that's my objective. So
that's why, and guys, that's why we don't have time for people that buy in to narratives where you clearly have to be naive to buy into them. We got no time for that, bro, because those are the people you can't get through to, and those are the people we don't want in our community. So
yeah, just let it play out. We'll see. Just like the approach we've taken in the offseason, in the draft. Just let the see. It'll be plenty of time for people to puff their chests out and hold their hands up. I said this. I said, just let it play out. We're not going to know until everything plays out. So, but we shouldn't be concerned about Tua's long term. Tua being a long term solution at that position. Not at this point. Clearly not at this point.
I agree. All right, bro. Let's get into it before we get into all the keys and stuff. You got a couple brothers that are Niner fans, bro. How are they feeling?
Well, they're feeling really good right now. I don't know why, but that's their teams, and they still think they're holding on to some glimmer of hope that they can, be some form. They can be, they can somehow this year get back to, some version of the team we saw last year. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's a possibility, but they're holding on hope, man. But they're feeling pretty good about their chances on Sunday.
All right. So how are you feeling about the game?
After what I saw, I saw him play Philly. I'm sure just like everyone else. San Francisco, bro, they don't look like the team we saw last year. That that quote unquote generational defensive line we saw last year is a shell of it. Is a shell of itself, shell of what we saw last year. Which for obvious reasons, you have Joey Bosa out. DeForest Buckner is no longer there. D Ford is on IR, I believe. They got freaking Deion Jordan out there starting. So I feel good about that. I feel good about that matchup. So I think Ziggy Ansah, he's gone. He's on IR as well. So they've just been decimated with injuries. So I'm feeling, from that standpoint, I'm feeling really good. But at the end of the day, the thing that concerns me the most is obviously their running game. Our running game will be our run defense will be tested this week. We all know how effective they are, running the football. They've been the last 2-3 years, they've been one of the better rushing teams, in the entire NFL. And that's going to be a very, very, it's time to strap it up Sunday, bro, because they're going to bring, Kyle Shanahan he's going to bring that running game. And we're going to be tested Sunday, man, in that regard.
Let me ask you this. Mr. AC Milan wants to know, you think we need to implement more blitzes instead of mainly zone 2 deep?
Well, I think the approach needs to be multiple. That approach, that needs to be consistent. You can't, again, when you're facing NFL teams, offensive coordinators, they're going to figure you out if they're going to figure your tendencies out. So the approach should always be multiple. So, yeah, I want to see more pressure like everyone else. But, especially if Byron Jones returns to the starting lineup, definitely I want to see more pressure.
Which it looks like he will.
Yeah. So, with him out there, him and Xavier Howard, hopefully, I don't think to this point, Xavier Howard, he doesn't look like the same player. He's gotten better each week. But I still don't think Xavier Howard is the player. He hadn't returned to that 2018 form yet, but he's getting better though. But with the addition, if Byron Jones plays Sunday, that'll bode well in terms of, what Josh Boyer can throw at, Jimmy Garoppolo or whoever it is that they have at quarterback Sunday in terms of scheme wise. So yeah, I mean, I want to see more pressure, but I want to see more of everything. And again, the approach should always be multiple when you're in this league. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, no doubt, if Byron Jones is there, definitely, it's common sense. I mean, you have two guys that can come, and they don't have, Julio Jones or DeAndre Hopkins on the outside. They have two good developing young players in Deebo Samuels and Brandon Ayuk. But I mean, are they going to put the fear of God in you? Really? No. Me personally, no. So, yeah, the approach needs to be multiple. Yeah, but I definitely do want to see more pressure, especially if Byron Jones returns to the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into it, bro. Let's start off before we get into the keys. Let's get into the injury reports because at least for the 49ers right now, it's pretty freaking extensive, bro. Let's start off with the Dolphins, though, because, you were saying a few things, and let's get to them. Sorry. Oh, stop sharing that. Oh, well, I might as well. Screw it. I stopped it. So we'll get into that, actually. You know what? Screw it. We'll start off with that. So, guys, the weather this weekend, basically at kickoff, you're looking at clear 69 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to feel like 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it's going to get up to about 72 by the fourth quarter. You're looking at about an 8 to 10 mile northwest wind. The humidity is going to start off around kickoff at 55%, drop down to 51%. So there is no precipitation in the weather forecast. So there is your quarter by quarter weather report and outlook for the game on Sunday, guys. And then continuing on here, let's look at the injury report. Let's start with the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are getting a big name back, but losing one. So Clayton Flagellum is a full practice. Kevon Frazier is a full practice. Howard's a full practice. Austin Jackson looks like he will be missing Sunday's game. Byron Jones participated in a full practice today. Solomon McKinley was back after limited yesterday with a full practice. Shaq Lawson did not practice yesterday. He was limited today, so he's trending upwards. Devontae Parker's good to go. Durham Smythe has not practiced 2 days in a row with a knee issue, and Malcolm Perry has a non-related, it is not COVID illness. So, and he did not practice today. So, we get Byron Jones back, which is going to significantly help our defense that needs it right now. But we're losing Austin Jackson. We talked on our post game that Davenport's body and Davenport's play pause off the first one really impressed us for the 21 snaps he had when he came in for relief. Can you give me your thoughts on the Austin Jackson possibly being out and the return of Byron Jones and what it does and means for our defense?
Thank God Joey Bosa is on IR.
Yeah, really.
I mean, man. I mean,
Nick
I don't wish.
Bosa.
I'm sorry, Nick Bosa. Why do I keep calling him Joey, bro? I get him mixed up. But I don't wish that upon any player, injury upon any player. But damn, woof, man, we caught a break there, bro. But yeah, I'm anxious to see the 2020 version of Julian Davenport. I like, there was a lot of things.
Do you start him or Hunt, bro?
No. I'm starting Julian Davenport. That, no, I don't want to see Robert Hunt at left tackle. I don't want to see Jesse Davis at left tackle. Absolutely. Okay. Under any circumstances. Okay. So no, I just want to start. I'm going to plug Julian Davenport in there and just ride with him. But I'm anxious to see the improvement off of what we saw last week and, going back to training camp, if you recall. Um, Brian Flores, one of the players that he, glowed about, was glowing about their improvement was Julian Davenport, believe it or not. So
Yep.
I want to see how he looks. I'm anxious to see how he looks Sunday. But again, I mean, that D line is, again, like I said, it's a shell of its former of what we saw last year. So, not to take any NFL player lightly, you know what I mean? They're at this level for a reason, but I think we caught a big break with Nick Bosa going to IR, and D Ford is on IR, I believe, or he's not playing. He's definitely not playing Sunday. So we caught two big breaks there. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, man, I'm just plugging Julian Davenport, and I'm gonna ride with him and see what we have.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what did you think? Oh, actually, before we get into your thoughts about Byron Jones returning, bro, and how that helps his defense, let me throw something in there, a wrench that I asked Richmond Webb, and I want to ask you this. Jesse Davis right now, brother. I mean, that first interception, when the man hit Fitzpatrick's arm on Sunday, Jesse Davis basically blew his pass block. Okay, that was his man that came around and hit Fitzpatrick's arm. Now, through 4 games, he's allowed 6 hits, 9 hurries, and he's allowed 15 pressures. 6 of those hurries and 6 of those pressures came against Seattle alone, who me and you noticed on the tape, because I went back after I watched it again on the All-22 when you told me that, and I was like, holy crap, he's right, because I wasn't paying attention. They used a lot of 4-man defensive tackle fronts just to generate pressure and then drop back in coverage basically beyond that. That's why you saw KJ Wright almost had 2 interceptions and Wagner almost had a reception. Jesse Davis right now with Tua Tagovailoa, and this is, again, goes back to the pressure no one's talking about. Yeah, we got better offensive line play, but, him and Karras have been very porous at times. Now, Karras probably just had his best game of the season, but even Flowers, I could make the legitimate case that Austin Jackson and Solomon Kinley have had more consistent seasons than the 3 veterans. Eric Flowers popped, but there's been times where Austin Jackson's basically lost his block because Eric Flowers either has lost his block and Austin's tried to help him recover, or he's literally pushed his man into Austin Jackson that's caused him to lose his block. Anyways, you got a guy who's got 6 hits, 9 hurries, and 15 pressures in 4 games. I ask you, when do you look at giving Robert Hunt some snaps at right tackle? And then I follow up with this. I know you've noticed it like me, brother. They've been going max protect a little bit more heavy in a few weeks, and that's meant more reps for Robert Hunt. So they're getting him more reps just using through a max protect. When do you make that switch, especially if just to see what you have with the right tackle heading into draft, especially when your franchise guy, whether it's this year or at the beginning of next year, that position, that right tackle is going to need to be, a little bit more sewn up, bro, because you look at that, my friend, we're only a quarter of he's averaging right now. He's on pace for 60 pressures. Now, we both know he won't hit that, but he's on pace for 60 pressures, my friend, 24 quarterback hits, and 36 hurries. When do you look at making that move?
Yeah, Jesse Davis, he's been a problem. He's clearly the weakest link on this offensive line. Man, to be honest with you, Reason, I mean, the approach that I would take, it's going to be a game-by-game type situation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm going to take that approach with him. If, I mean, excuse me, game by game, snap by snap. You know what I mean? So I'm going to gradually, he will remain as far as Sunday is concerned, especially with all the injuries on that defensive line. And see, you have to ask yourself, what is it? Why is he giving up so many? Is it just he's getting beat physically, or is it a mental issue with Jesse Davis? That's the question we should be asking first and foremost. So we need to find out what exactly is the issue mentally or physically, address it. And again, if he's not cleaning up his game, again, you have to take it. You have to take the approach of a snap by snap type situation because it's starting to cost us games. You know what I mean? Two huge play, game altering type of plays. You can't have that. You're gonna have problems over the course of a 60-minute football game, but you just can't have the catastrophic plays, giving up big sacks, big pressures. You know what I mean? You can't have that. So at the end of the day, the approach that I would take in terms of Robert Hunt's implementation, it's going to be snap by snap basis. I will have the eye emojis on him early on. If he's struggling, okay, well then look, I will gradually integrate, I would start the process of integrating, Robert Hunt and get him some legitimate reps with the starting lineup. I think that's the best approach. And then if he proves that he can, he's a better option, well then his snap count will increase, and ultimately Jesse Davis will be phased out in terms of starting, and they will flip-flop roles. Jesse Davis will be that swing tackle. He'll be that 6 tackle when they go 6 offensive linemen, when they go to max protection, so et cetera, et cetera. So that's I think the best approach. But Jesse Davis is a problem. He's a problem. But again, let me ask you this, homie. What about, if we get a really good look, if Julian Davenport flashes Sunday, what about him? Because, I think we can both agree Julian Davenport is the better athlete in terms of, agility, lateral movement. He's the better athlete than what Robert Hunt and Jesse Davis is. He might not be, in terms of his functional strength, he might not be as strong as those two guys, but I think we can agree he's the better athlete of the three. Would you entertain Julian Davenport at some point or stretches at right tackle? He might, just to give him a look. You never know. You might strike gold.
I guess we'll talk after Sunday because I can't commit to that right now, brother. I still got too many bad memories from last season.
I understand.
21 snaps on Sunday aren't going to make me forget about it yet. So
he was horrible last year.
Yeah, he was pretty bad, bro. He was pretty bad, bro. But I agree. There's clearly a reason why. We were wondering why he stuck around and Shaq Calhoun didn't. And maybe what we saw on Sunday was a little bit of taste of why. But we had a taste. I need that full course meal here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but Jesse Davis is a problem.
Yeah,
4 games. This is a big enough sample size.
That's a problem.
He's a problem. Yeah. He's a problem.
So can you, before we get into the San Francisco 49ers injuries, just tell the people what Byron Jones's return will mean for this defense?
Well, I think number one, I want to know, just because it's a plus that he's returned to the starting lineup. But I want to know, I still have to question, is he 100%, man? Because he had he was nursing an Achilles issue. And then on top of that, he had a groin issue as well. So those are 2 tough, type of injuries to come back from, especially so soon. So I'm wondering how healthy he is. And the coaching staff, just because he's out there, if he's not 100%, that's gonna, me personally, if I'm Josh Boyer, that's gonna, drastically alter a lot of how I would like to scheme against San Francisco in terms of the heavy deployment of man concepts. But with that being said, if he's healthy, in terms of just pressure alone, with him and Xavier Howard on the outside, we talked about this, earlier in the season. Before the season started. You have Xavier Howard and him on the boundaries. It just gives you, when you're in man concepts, it just gives you so much flexibility on how you can scheme in terms of double teams, that you can throw at, because I think we can all agree that Kittles is their best receiving option at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We can agree upon that. So you can, if they are able to cover and hold up, you know what I mean? You can throw double. It's just, like I said before, it's just, I think man concepts just give you so much flexibility on how you can scheme. You can disguise like pre-snap, You know what I mean? Better in man concepts, I feel. But at the end of the day, you have two options, and again, they don't have Pro Bowl wide receivers out on the boundary. So you have Xavier Howard, you have Byron Jones. It just gives you so much more options you can throw at, Jimmy Garoppolo or I forget the other. What's the quarterback? I forget his
Nick
name.
Mullins,
Nick Mullins, or whoever they decide to start Sunday. So, but at the end of the day, man, this the secondary is not especially if Byron Jones returns to the starting lineup. That's not my biggest issue. What's making me, just to quote the late great Joe Philbin, is making me a little queasy is that run defense. Because Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, we're gonna talk about.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, we'll talk about that, my friend. Don't worry, because we got a matchup to watch. Who's a player you mentioned already, but I'm gonna talk about a player to watch on the San Francisco 49ers. So, bro, as we go over their injury report today, bro. Ansah, as you know, is out. Jimmy Garoppolo has had back-to-back limited practices. Dre Greenlaw's out. Dante Johnson, the corner's out. Emmanuel Mosley, the corner's out. Raheem Mosert's had 2 limited practices. Dante Pettis, a lot of people's last year breakout candidate who didn't quite break out because of injuries again. He looks like he's going to be back. Trent Taylor will be back. Jimmy Ward does look like he's going to be back. Akilio Weatherspoon's going to be back. Quan Williams and Deebo Samuel did not practice today. So they're going to get Dante Pettis back, but it looks like they might lose Deebo. When you talk about Byron Jones's impact, I think for either one of these quarterbacks, he could be a potential nightmare. But that's a pretty big laundry list of injuries that they got going on right now, man.
They're a banged up team, man. They're a banged up team, bro.
Just like last week, we got to take advantage of that, Ian.
I agree. I was just getting ready to say that, man. We squandered a perfect opportunity last week.
Russell Wilson was average for most of the game.
Oh, man. We have to, again, this team is banged up, we got to start taking advantage of these teams. Start establishing some momentum, bro, moving forward. But, yeah, man, it's going to be a tough one. I still like our chances because of overall, I like our chances for the most part, but it's just going to come down. It's going to come down. I think the difference in this football game will be whether or not we can control and minimize their run game, which is a perfect segue into what we're about to get into.
We'll start off with the offensive keys, but I like where your mind's at right now. So right now, run the ball effectively in both halves, EM. Last week, they ran the ball 22 times for about 103 yards. Yeah, they ran it more times in the second half, but they only ran it 12 times total, and they gave Jordan Howard some useless snaps. I said this to you privately. I said this to you on the podcast. 3rd and 3, they finally decided to run the ball. Shout out to the homie Pyromancer, when it would have been the perfect opportunity to bring Lynn Bowden back in and throw another wildcat wrinkle to get the first down. Same thing with, I know I was hard on Fitzpatrick before the half went out when he blew that 3rd and 4 passing attempt. But like I said to Ian privately today, why are you even giving him deep routes to consider? Give him short underneath stuff to get past the markers or get to the markers and get the first down. So you're not even giving him the chance to test it. So, the situation, I won't say the play calling was bad, but there were certain times situationally where the play calling could have been a little bit better. So run the ball effectively in both halves, and here's another thing, EM. Breda was having the hot hand, and they took the ball out of his hand to start the third quarter, bro.
Yeah, man. Again, like I said, for this 1-3 record, there's plenty of blame to go around. And you can start at the top with the coaches, with the coaching staff, and work your way down. So hopefully they're learning. They keep saying in their Zoom sessions that, it's a fluid situation. They're learning just like the players, but damn, I'm sick of hearing that, bro. I'm just being honest. But the objective for me, I want to win, period. I don't care what it looks like, but I just want W's.
Bro, I had to change from establish the run to run the ball effectively in both halves because they'll establish it and then they'll get away from it, bro.
Yeah, and see what have I been saying all year? It's the commitment. You have to what that does is that creates an identity for your football team. When you think about the 49ers, when you think about the Seahawks, the Ravens, the Patriots, all of the better teams, they have an identity. We still don't have that, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, all of the better teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have an identity, bro. And they very seldom get away from that identity. No matter what, you know what you're getting when you're playing these teams. And we just, and to hear Brian Flores talk from the day he started, that's what he wants to do, establish a culture of physicality, a physical nature. When you come to South Florida or you play this football team, you're going to have to bring your lunch pail for 60 minutes. Yep. You know what I mean? Physical, and we haven't seen it yet. So, yeah, man, plenty of blame to go around, but hopefully they're learning. Hopefully, just like we hope Tua and all these other players are, in the classroom and learning, watching film, et cetera, et cetera. I hope these damn coaches are doing the exact same thing. Yeah. Because it's ridiculous. It's getting, I told you, man, it's getting, all of these negatives are starting to stack up.
And running the ball effectively in both halves leads to controlling the clock with time of possession, EM. I mean, we had almost 30 attempts against the Jaguars. We won the time of possession. Again, we only had 22 against the Seattle Seahawks, but we won the time of possession, and people saw how much we were in the red zone with that. So, we were effective on third down. I believe we were 7 for 13 against Seattle on third down. We've turned into one of the better first down teams in the NFL. I believe we're right now we're 10th in the NFL on first downs. So there is stuff to take away from it, but there's also stuff, like I just said, you got to keep up that pace. We're 10th in both passing and rushing first downs. We're 9th in passing and we're 10th in rushing, and we're 7th in the NFL in total first downs. So we're getting them, and the run game has been helping. But EM, you said it last week, they fell 8 short. There's no reason why we shouldn't be running the ball. When you're running, over 60 offensive plays, 65 in that range, brother, there's no reason why 30 of those should not be the run. Why is Fitzpatrick out here throwing the ball 40 times?
I agree.
Especially when, for the majority of the game, EM, he didn't have to throw that much because the score was so close. We weren't down by 2 or 3 touchdowns where it's like, okay, now you got to abandon it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, man. It's like, bro, at times it's like they're trying to get Ryan Fitzpatrick's fantasy numbers up. Yeah. You know what I mean? That seems to be the focus as opposed to winning the damn football game, bro. It just makes no sense at times. And again, like I said, I hope they are learning from their early mistakes, because again, these bad decisions are starting to stack up. But yeah, I just think that should be the approach. I was consistent about that since the beginning of the season. Everything should be predicated on the running game this year of the 2020 version of Miami Dolphins, whether that was with Ryan Fitzpatrick behind center or Tua Tagovailoa. I just think, how this team is built, I just think that is the best approach. And hopefully, man, they can just, they can just learn from what they're doing and figure this thing out, bro. So,
because once again, bro, Fitzpatrick is one of our leading rushers.
Yeah.
Him and Gaskin are our top rushers, right?
Yep. It's ridiculous. That's unacceptable. Yeah. Unacceptable.
So I put this back on here. It hadn't been on here for a couple of weeks. No turnovers. And that's because at times last week, turnovers killed us. And this is a pretty banged up defense. If I see 3 or 4 turnovers, we're probably going to have a problem, at least on my side of the field here. I know you're probably going to have to deal with Javon Kinlaw. I know there's still talent on that defense, but you're facing a banged up team and a banged up front that really only sends 4, and everyone else is just sitting back in zone. So the seams are gonna be there. If the separation is going to come, whether it's gained off the route or whether they just run into a zone where they're in between the coverage zones, right? So the space will be there. It's just going to be about protection, holding up,
and decision making,
patience, and decision making. Yes, exactly. So, EM, what do you got to say about the no turnovers?
And see, that's why I think this is a favorable matchup from the Miami Dolphins' perspective, is because number one, just by these play design, by scheme, what the nature of their their approach, the 49ers, they're a zone-based team by nature anyway. You know what I mean? And they like to play zone, and they like to rush 4.
Yep.
Predominantly. But again, they don't have Joey Bosa, they don't have G4, they don't have DeForest Buckner on that line. So with that being said, on paper, this should bode well for the Miami Dolphins because they don't have these elite pass rushers. It's not the version of that D line we saw last year. And then on top of that, they're a zone-based team anyway. So if Fitzpatrick, again, on paper, he should have our line should hold up enough to give him hold up enough and give him enough time to survey the field and make the it's all about his decision making. It's going to come down. I think he'll have plenty of time. I don't think he shouldn't be under duress, like we saw last week and the weeks before. He should, again, it's on paper. We won't know until Sunday, but with all of their injuries that they have on their front, it's shaping up to be a favorable matchup for the Dolphins. And, again, Fitz, it's all about decision making. I've been saying that all year. That's what I want to see, the continued growth. And hopefully he learned from last week. Hopefully we'll see, we'll see a better version of Ryan Fitzpatrick Sunday.
And the crazy thing, guys, is with all those injuries on defense, they're still allowing the third least yards per game at 294.8. They're allowing the second least passing yards per game at 172.8. They're allowing the 14th least rushing yards per game at about 110.8. They're allowing the third least points per game at 17.8. And our offense has a third down percentage of 46.9, ninth best in the NFL, but they're seventh best in the NFL, only allowing a 39.2 percentage on third down. So it's going to be the battle of the third downs. And, even though they're only allowing 172.8 yards through the air per game on average, I'm looking for 250, 300 from Ryan this week. I don't want no excuses. If I see 170 and we're running the ball the way we ran it last week, we're going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see, I just want to see efficiency, on both, in the run game as well as Ryan Fitzpatrick. I just want
balance.
Balance, exactly. Yeah. So I think if we're running the football, if we stay committed, and it's like, man, we'll have a level of success early on, and they will just, they just get away from it. It's like Chan Gailey hates calling running plays, bro.
I know.
You know what I mean?
And then when he does situationally, sometimes you're like, why'd you call a running play there, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get into the defensive keys of victory. One I really want to talk about here because we kind of alluded to. Stuff their run game early and often. Now, Raheem Mostert might be coming back, but the guy who I'm worried about right now, my friend, is Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon had a really good game last weekend. He's a dual threat. We all know the story, right? When Dalvin Cook went down with that injury a couple of years ago, who's the guy who stepped up in Minnesota? Jerick McKinnon. So much so that before the Raheem Mostert, before Matt Breida popped off, they gave Jerick McKinnon the money because they thought he was going to be the guy, and then he had a pretty bad ACL injury. He's back. He's healthy, and they're using him as that dual threat. And even if Raheem Mostert isn't good to go, that doesn't let us off the hook with their run game. They also got Wilson back there too, right? But Jerick McKinnon, not a lot of people are thinking about him. Even he because people seem to forget because injury has created short-term amnesia here. Jerick McKinnon can do just as much damage as Raheem Mostert, brother.
I agree. You have Tevin Coleman as well. Is he hurt?
I believe he's out. I think he's out.
Is he out? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have 2 or 3 guys that really can hurt you. And it's not just personnel, it's scheme as well is what concerns me the most, because they have one of the most diverse approaches in terms of their deployment of their run schemes that you will find in the National Football League. I mean, they're hard. Generally teams, you can pretty much figure out their tendencies in terms of what they prefer in power or zone. Man, Kyle Shanahan, it is extremely difficult to really get a gauge on what they do because they're so multiple. You know what I mean? You see power, you see zone, you see combinations of both. You see counters, you see, so much movement pre-snap, and it puts a tremendous amount of defense pressure on your defense, not only personnel-wise, but scheme. Our front 7 this week is going to have to be very disciplined with their eyes because we all know
Jerome Baker better not be in that interior.
I don't want to see Jerome Baker at all this week, to be honest with you. But they're going to have to be disciplined, sound, especially, in terms of, their gap integrity, because their play designs are designed to expose teams that are undisciplined in that, in that way. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Christian Wilkins, Devon Godshaw, Zach Seiler, Raekwon Davis, that front, Agba, Shaq Lawson, they're going to have to be very disciplined and sound this week because, if you fall asleep on one snap, either one of them running backs, they take it at 80 yards to the house, hitting their heads on the goalpost.
And that kind of segues into the next point, EM. I'll let you continue on. Don't give up big plays. We can't have the mental errors that Noah had. We can't have the mental errors that Landon Roberts and Jerome Baker have had against the run game. Dante Pettis and if Brandon Ayuk, they can make plays, man. I'm not saying they're going to light you up for 200 yards, but they can make plays. Ayuk can be used different ways, like Laviska Shenault was being used against us. It's just for some reason the Jaguars got away from deploying Laviska Shenault in different wrinkles against us, even though it was working. The thing is, San Fran, with a mind like Kyle Shanahan, like you said, if he sees it's working, he'll stick with it and he'll just throw different looks at you with them. And if he's seeing that Brandon Ayuk is making things happen by just getting the ball in his hands, he'll find different ways to get the ball in his hands. So, there's playmakers on this offense more out of the backfield, like we were just alluding to between Mostert and McKinnon. But there's guys in the receiving core who can make plays, including who I didn't even mention, and we'll talk about next. But I'll just mention him now. Leave him out. We'll talk about him next. But George Kittle can make plays too. But don't give up big plays, EM. Me and you have talked about this, and I've said to you, the one thing I've noticed, especially against Seattle, what was the difference? We gave up big plays, but we didn't get any ourselves, right? So can you just talk about how imperative it's going to be against, especially if Jimmy G is back running the offense, how imperative it's going to be to not give up those big plays?
Yeah, those chunk plays. I mean, they just kill you. Obviously they kill you. They decimate the scoreboard, but they also decimate you mentally. You know what I mean? And continuously giving up chunk plays after chunk play after it just kills all the momentum defensively and offensively on your football team. And again, Kittle, Deebo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, they get the ball in really all three of their hands in unconventional ways. So they're just not necessarily threats. They just don't leave them on a boundary and, and expect them to just make plays from that, in that format. So again, that's why I said this week, our team, our front is definitely going to have to be more disciplined and sound technique. Their awareness is going to have to be spot on. Because again, the multiplicity that this offense brings, that Kyle Shanahan brings, he throws at teams, it's going to be huge, absolutely huge. And again, if you fall asleep on one play, you know what I mean? You over pursuit on one play, and all of a sudden, one of these running backs or these wide receivers, they're hitting their head on the goalpost. So it's going to be, imperative that our defense is very sound this weekend. If we can do that, we can minimize big plays and just keep everything in front of them. Identify where the football goes, be sound in tackling, get these guys. And that's another thing as well. Deebo Samuels and Brandon Ayuk, they are difficult guys to bring down, and Kittle as well in the open field. Mm-hmm. So with that being said,
limiting Dak.
Exactly. You're going to have to be sound in all facets. So,
another key I got here, is I had it with Mullins and then Jimmy G came out that he might start today because I knew we could do it for Mullins. Forced turnovers, especially if Nick Mullins is playing. You are going to have I think even Jimmy G's accuracy at times, you might have a chance to make some plays on some football.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can force turnovers from the quarterback position and put Fitz in this offense in a position, good field position, if you add in not giving up big plays and kind of limiting the run game, we could win by double digits.
Yeah. Jimmy G he'll give you about 3 or 4 chances to get him, to make big plays on, a lot on those 3 or 4 passes. Again, this is where that sound and our players need to remain disciplined because he'll like I said, he'll give you chances. And this is why I think the approach in terms of the scheme that we have Sunday, you need to remain multiples because you can, again, NFL quarterbacks, you just can't let them you can't let them figure out pre-snap what you're doing. It just gives them such a great, a huge advantage on what you're doing. And if you keep them, I want to see better disguises up front pre-snap, you know what I mean, as well as post-snap. So I want to see combinations of different coverages. I want to see, obviously passing down situations with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard on paper. I like that matchup on the boundary. So I want to see pressure. I want to see the pressure dialed up this week. I want to see, another intriguing matchup that I will be paying close attention to is Eric Rowe when he's lined up man to man.
Are you showing them from the beginning? Are you showing them 5-6 man fronts?
Oh, absolutely.
Make them feel uncomfortable, and then start.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
By dropping the middle guys at back in the
absolutely, absolutely. I'm throwing, and again, that should be. It's not just relative to San Francisco. That should be the approach every single week. So I want to, but again, like I was going to say, in a matchup that I will be paying a coaching to.
Don't say it. Don't say it because it might be our matchup to watch, which is next, bro. If it involves George Kittle, don't say it yet, bro.
It is. I guess it is. Well, I'll wait.
It's coming up right now. We'll get into it right now.
I'll wait.
We'll get into it right now, bro. Okay, so EM segue, and someone just asked about it in the comments about George Kittle. Who's going to be covering him, et cetera, et cetera. And that leads into our matchup to watch, and I'll let EM finish his thought. The matchup to watch this week, guys, is Eric Rowe is probably going to be deployed as your rover for the most part, and he's going to be facing George Kittle. And before EM lets y'all know what it is, after a switch to safety in 2019, Eric Rowe limited opposing pass catchers to 5.04 yards per targeted. Through 4 games in 2020, he's back in that neighborhood at 5.33 yards per target. A receiver averaging 5.3 yards per target would rank 133rd in the NFL right now.
Man, and this is why I did not want to draft Isaiah Simmons with a top 5 pick last year. But anyway, Eric Rowe, man, I think Eric Rowe is he might be the most underappreciated player on this team. I mean, really, is he the dynamic playmaker that, you have with Earl Thomas in his heyday or, Jamal Adams? No, he's not that caliber, but he's solid. He's good in this scheme, and he's exceptional at what they ask him to do, which is erase tight ends in the passing game. And he's done, since they made the switch last year, as you just alluded to, he's done an outstanding job in that format. So this is an intriguing matchup for me. Now keep in mind I'm not saying that I want to see Eric Rowe 99.9% of the time being deployed, matched up man-to-man with this player, because this is an all-pro player here. But I want to see Eric Rowe. I want to see how he holds up with him, when he's deployed in man concepts. But I do want to see bracket coverages on Kittle at times as well. So
one underneath, one over top, right?
Exactly. So with that being said, I love Eric Rowe as a player. I said at the beginning of the season, he was one of my breakout players. I thought we could see a better version of what we saw last year. And so far we've been seeing it. He's been steady. He's been solid. He's giving you everything that you could ask him. They employ, as a linebacker, as a nickel or dime linebacker in your exotic looks, obviously strong safety. So yeah, I think Eric Rowe is a fine player, and I'm looking forward to see how he matches up with Kittle Sunday.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a good matchup to watch, bro. It's, Eric Rowe is one of, we talk about this privately. You could make the argument right now, and I know Justin next to you has watched all 20. He's seen all the all 22 of the Dolphins so far. You could make the legitimate argument that obviously next to Siler, who's come in and come like a bat out of hell, you could make the legitimate case of Eric Rowe has been our most consistent and best defender, especially when you go back and watch the film this season, bro.
I would agree. He's just one of those, he just shows up, he does his job well, and he goes home.
Yeah, man.
And, he's just underappreciated, man. And we need to start, us as a fan base, not for me, because I've been recognizing his game since last year. But us, for the most part, our fan base is just, he's just an underappreciated, he's just a good player.
Mm-hmm. I agree, bro. 110%, man. All right, guys. So let's get in to a few final things here, EM. Let's get in to our prediction. Me and you, I'll start off with mine because I haven't even got yours yet. So I'll let you give you a second to think of it. So I'm going Miami 28, San Francisco 23. I think Fitz is going to bounce back. I don't think he's going to turn the ball over. At least I'm hoping he's not going to turn the ball over. I think he's going to have a bounce back game. I think he's going to be efficient. I think we're going to force turnovers from that quarterback position. I just got a feeling this week. I don't know why. We're going to force turnovers, and I really do think that this run defense, little by little, has been getting better. It's nowhere near where we want it to be, but they've made some changes in terms of personnel groupings. I mean, Jerome Baker saw probably his lowest snap count during the whole Flores regime last week, and it was low the week before. Not as low, but it was lower than normal. Kyle Van Noy is manning the middle. The communication looks better. So I think I don't think we're going to get gashed for 150, 200 yards on the ground here, bro. So I do like I like when we're used to playing in the heat. So I'm not worried about whatever, it's only 66 degrees. I ain't worried about that. So I think another thing, we talked about them doing that they should have done more of against Seattle when they saw them really taking deep breaths. We talked about motion and them adding more motion pre-snap, and they've started. I've said now, okay, let's add more motion at the snap. But hey, you know what? If we get up on these guys and we get them winded and just sustaining drives, let's hit them with some up-tempo offense in that heat, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if we get them on our heels, get them into an up-tempo offense just to wear them out, man. So I'm going 28-23 Miami Dolphins, brother.
Very good. I'm going 23-17 Miami.
Ooh.
I think, just like you just alluded to, I think our run defense will, obviously I don't think we're going to shut them down, but I think their running game will be somewhat controlled. I don't think we'll be gassed for 150 plus yards this game. And I think, Jimmy Garoppolo or whoever it is that starts Sunday, they'll be in a situation where, they will be forced to make consistent plays. And I just don't think Deebo Samuels or Brandon Ayuk, obviously his rookie status, I don't think they're that refined as wide receivers to be able to consistently make plays against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. I just don't see that. They're gonna have to prove it to me. But and I think Kittles will be minimized to some degree. And I just don't. At the end of the day, I think Miami. My expectation is that they will commit. They will have a legitimate commitment to the running game on Sunday, and they should. Because of the injuries that we alluded to earlier in their front seven, so they should. And I think they will. I think that'll, Fitz is, we won't be as reliant on Fitz as we were the previous 2 weeks. And I think Fitz will be efficient. I don't think we'll see as many. I don't think we'll see turnovers. And, again, I just want an efficient Fitz. I want him putting the ball up between 15 and 25 times max. And I want him to be his decision-making to improve, which I think it will. I think Gesicki, this is a game for Mike Gesicki to have a big game for us this week. And, the last two games, it's like I don't get why. You can make a legitimate argument that Gesicki needs to be featured like they feature a George Kittle or Travis Kelce of the world. Why is he not featured?
And he's better.
You know what I mean?
He's better in pass block and run blocking. He's displayed that this year. And I always go back to this EM. You look at that fourth quarter against Buffalo. Gesicki was instrumental, my friend.
He was dominating, bro. He was dominating. He was dominant. And I'm like, man, why aren't you? And especially with
12 targets, there should be no excuse.
And especially with Parker hobbling like that, is Preston Williams even play? Is he starting? Man, there has been an APB out on this young man since week one. And I don't understand why they're not featuring him more in this offense. Man, I tell you. But anyway, I think this week
all the hype the media gave us when they're the ones who had access, bro.
Yeah. So I think the Dolphins will learn from the mistakes they've been making the previous 4 weeks. And I think Gesicki is primed for I think Parker is going to be I think we can all, we can agree that Devontae Parker is just going to do Devontae Parker things. He's just going to get his,
But you're right, bro, because you got 45 times he threw the ball against Seattle. Only 3 of those targets were to Mike Gesicki.
I just don't get it, man. I don't understand it. I don't get it. So, but I think hopefully they'll learn from that, from the previous 4 weeks. But I think this is a prime game for Mike Gesicki, and I'm looking for a big game from him this week. So,
yeah, as am I. So we're 10 minutes away from the 2-hour mark. EM, where do you want to take this? You ready to get out of here?
No, you can open it up, bro. I'm good.
All right, we'll open it up for a little bit, guys. I'll drop the link right now. Any of you guys who want to come on and give your thoughts or your predictions specifically. But yeah, bro, I mean, I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, there's no excuse why he shouldn't have 8 to 12 targets, bro. I agree. After the Bills game, brother, can I tell you this? After the Bills game, I was like, wow, we have a top 5. I'm not even going to lie to you. Privately, I was like, we got the makings of a top 5 tight end right now.
I'm
noticing him better. He's good with the blocking. Like, it's clear him and Durham Smythe were actually working, and actually making something happen, bro. I just, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me when, if you look, I think what is it? It's from Mike Gesicki since what? Since week 7, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Mike Gesicki since week 7, I believe, leads all tight ends with touchdowns.
I don't get it, bro. I really don't. I just don't understand why they're not more creative with him. You know what I mean? I don't know why they don't throw more screens to him. That tight end screen that you see the 49ers deploy, that you see Kansas City deploy, that you see Philadelphia deploy with their respective players, that needs to be a big part of this offense. You know what I mean? Look at how creative they are at getting those playmakers the football. I don't understand why the Dolphins don't adopt more of that approach with Mike Gesicki. I have no idea. So, I mean, he's a dynamic player. I just don't understand, man. I really don't. I don't get it. You have dominant players at positions. You need to get them the football. That'll get you wins. That'll get you on that winning path a lot sooner. And I don't get it, bro. I don't get it.
All right, let's get to the backstage. It's starting to fill up. Havoc, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing today?
What's going on, man? What's going on, bro?
Get your shout out of the way right now, bro.
I leave the shout out to the end. Don't tell me how to shout out. I know how to shout out. Okay. I live very close to the Bronx. I know how to shout out.
Okay. All right, this guy over here. Yo, Justin, what's good, buddy?
What's good?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's good, Justin?
I like the jersey, bro. You got the Zonks?
Yeah, it's the Zonka.
Nice, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
Nice.
Powerhouse, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Rhino?
Powerhouse, what's going on?
What's up, Ian?
What's good, bro? What's good, bro?
What's going on, everybody?
What's good, buddy?
I got a feeling that Breda's going to go off in this game because it's his former team, and I just see us going heavy in the run game.
That would make the most sense.
I want to see a heavy dose of both of them. I want to see Matt Breida as well as Myles Gaskin. I want to see them both. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to see, we talked about, featuring Michael Gesicki more. They need to get creative.
You called him Michael, hey? We're at Michael right now. All right.
What's that?
You called him Michael. Like, you're like going full name basis with this guy right now. I love it. Go ahead.
Reason, my bad, man. I just realized I called you Rhino.
It's all good, bro.
That was my mistake. But yeah.
Go ahead and make your point.
But yeah, I agree. I want to see a heavy dose of both of them this week.
Yeah, I want to see the ball ran at least 30 times. I mean, why is a 38-year-old quarterback who we already had issues of if his arm is going to make it through the whole season, why are we at game 4 and he's throwing 45 times when for the majority of the game you were down by 1 score?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're in a situation where clearly they have depth issues, and we are playing them at a time where, during that Jacksonville game and throughout the season when we've gone up tempo, we've been able to go up tempo mixed with the motion on offense. We've been able to do some things, and I would anticipate you have that high tempo, but you blend that with the run game, and you just keep their D linemen on the field because they can't rotate. They don't have any rotation on their D-line right now, so they got to be on the field the whole time. If you keep pounding them, you get to the second half, these are going to be worn out. It's going to be wide open. So I hope the Dolphins know that. They can take advantage of that.
Mm. Tranquilize, what's good, buddy? I think this is your first time up here.
It is. Yeah, I came on. I wanted to actually point out. I know a lot of people don't really pay attention to the O-line. It's not a flashy position. Just want to give some credit to like Eric Flowers. I was looking up some stuff. He actually is apparently the 15th ranked guard in the NFL right now. He's only allowed like 5 pressures out of 180 about snaps, which is less than 1%. And I mean, I just want to give props to our O-line. They're doing pretty good, especially him. I haven't heard him get really any props, and he's been pretty good for us, our whole O-line especially. I just wanted to come on to say, like, we want to see the flashy plays. We want to see Tua, of course. We want to see people make flashy plays. Our O-line's been good, though. Just want to point that out pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier, I've been impressed with Solomon McKinley. I've been impressed with Austin Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that maybe out of the 3 veterans on our offensive line, Eric Flowers has been the better.
Yeah.
I could name 3, 4, probably 5 plays where, you know, he pushed his man in Austin Jackson's hip, and Austin Jackson lost his own block because of Eric Flowers. You know, I have seen issues with Eric Flowers. I don't think he's worth $10.5 million.
Yeah.
By no stretch of the amount. I think he's overpaid.
Yeah.
True, he is.
You know, I like Eric Flowers. I do think he's, like I said, I think he's been the best and most consistent out of the 3 of our interior guys. I mean, he's only allowed 5 pressures, 4 hurries, and he's got 1 sack accredited to him. So it's nowhere near Jesse Davis level here. But I also do think, you know, Ted Karras has really struggled at times too, and that's affected Eric Flowers' play at times, and it's even affected Solomon McKinley's play as I've gone up and flipped his all 22. I've been okay with Eric Flowers' play. I don't think now. Do I think he's $10.5 million? Like I said earlier, no. I think the plan is probably. Bye Eric after next year, because they can cut him with no dead cap, and then you basically can slide Solomon to left guard. And I do think, sorry everyone, I might be wrong in the end, but I think it just shakes out with Robert Hunt at right guard, and I think that'll be a move, and then they'll figure out right tackle either in the draft or free agency. But I agree with you, Tranquilize. Eric Flowers, at least for the veterans on the offensive line, has definitely, to me, been the best one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I also the past few years has been I've always just looked at our interior line and just been like, oh my god, we need guard help and interior line help so bad, and just he's not, like you said, he's not worth what we're paying him, but at least it's serviceable. And I'm just like, oh, thank God we have, like, our guards right now are serviceable. It's nice to see for once, being a Miami fan, at least. It's nice to see some interior play that's decent. It's decent right now.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's allowed 6, but in total, the interior is only allowed 12 pressures up to this point. So that's pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Pyro, Nico, Red Dino, what's good, boys?
What's good?
What's up, guys? How's it
What's
going?
up?
Gentlemen.
It's good.
Let me just say this, man.
You should run the ball. We know what you're gonna say.
No,
you should run the ball.
No. The film on Kenley. Stop. The film on Kenley is just, oh man, I love Kenley, man. I can see why they traded up to get him.
That was a good pick.
He is quick and aggressive, and I just love it, man.
He's a monster.
I'm gonna get a damn jersey.
Yo, you're gonna be the one dude with the Solomon Kinley jersey walking around.
Hey, he deserves it, man.
I might get an Austin Jackson jersey.
I mean, that's what's up.
You know who I'm not getting? It's Jesse Davis.
Yeah.
No.
You have to go into custom jerseys to get that Jesse Davis.
Yeah, it looks like it might be on the same rack as the discounted Rosen ones at the end.
You mean the laundry day jerseys?
Yeah.
The laundry day jerseys.
Soon to be Baker.
Him and Jordan Howard.
Right.
Soon to be Baker.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a Bobby McCain jersey for his services.
Yeah.
For getting Kalen Balaj out of Miami.
Bro. If you get that Kalen Balaj jersey, you can wear for Halloween. You can tell that you can go get that Bobby McCain jersey, wear for Halloween. People will be like, "Hey, Nico, what are you being for Halloween?" Yo, I'm the Kalen Balaj killer, brother.
And it should be the cleanest jersey.
Stop.
Ever.
Man.
I know you watched a lot of all 22, Justin. I want to hear your thoughts on the offensive line right now.
My thoughts on the offensive line is that they're as a unit and that they're playing together. They all have really good communication down low. The young men that we got in the draft, the Austin Jackson and Colin McKinley, they're both playing ahead of even where I thought they would be. They're playing lights out. I see small lapses in their game, if any. Jesse Davis obviously needs to be relegated to a swing tackle. Be nice to see someone else come up and step up and play some right tackle for us. In the end, I think just kind of like you, reason that Robert Hunt will end up playing some right guard and will end up moving eventually. But they look real good. They look solid. The one guy that gets no talk about through any Dolphins anywhere, nation anywhere, is Durham Smythe. And Durham Smythe gets absolutely no love. He blocks his butt off every game. And when he gets the football, he tries to make a play. He's a part of a lot of what they're doing on the offensive line, and no one's pointing it out. Like, I'll try to break down a play here and there of him, but there's not a lot of them to show because it's those plays that don't go down in the stat book that no one is counting, like the ones
hidden production.
He'll get out of a stat.
Shout out to Hollins.
Those don't go in the stat book. Those are the ones that count. Like, just need to do a little bit better of a job, and they'll grow as a unit. But they look good.
I do agree. Smythe has improved, but in passing situations, I don't want to see him out there running. Not consistently. I would rather see, again. I'd rather see Mac Hollins because I think Mac Hollins right now it's just not made public yet, and I'm serious. It's just not made public yet.
Why you trolling me, bro?
Listen.
Why you trolling me, bro? Why you trolling me, bro?
Hey, no, I'm telling you. I think Mac Hollins.
You gonna end up on a table, bro.
I'll take the blame. I think you brought his name up.
Listen. I think Mac Hollins is a tight end right now. I think the Dolphins are converting him. And obviously, I'm just saying in obvious passing situations, obviously he's the better player he's the player that you want running routes as opposed to Durham Smythe.
So Matt Collins is a tight end?
Havoc.
Hollins, because I seen a play on Hollins during the last part of the Jags game, and actually it was the last play of the game. I just didn't break it down, where Hollins came in and had like a
for the Gaskin run, right?
For the gas.
Mm-hmm.
He killed it on that.
So, let him keep laughing. Let him keep laughing. Keep cracking jokes.
You know what I find?
Keep laughing and keep laughing and keep cracking jokes.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I just want to say this. He's played tight end, I think, 2 plays so far.
And he's a third string.
But listen, have you seen him in any other role?
I've seen him on the training table a lot.
No.
Special teams. I've seen him on special teams.
What other than special teams? I'm talking about on offense.
Hold on a sec. So if Blake Ferguson goes down and he becomes our long snapper, that might be
dude.
Yeah, you trolling now, dude. You trolling.
And Williams keep showing up MIA.
Come on, man.
You know,
get him out there on the outside.
Telling you.
Preston
He's
Williams.
a backup DP.
You know, this is
I'm with you on this one.
That ain't it, man. That ain't it.
You know, this is the guy in training camp I thought was best suited to work at a wing stop. I upgraded him to owning a wing stop, and now He's a wide receiver. He's a third string tight end. He's a fifth string placeholder. He's a second string
guy.
Snapper.
Like, I mean, how many jobs you want to give the guy? He's only one Mac. There's only one Mac.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Well,
You know what he is, Havoc? You know what he is? He's the Mac of all trades.
Oh man.
Okay.
Hey, when he scores his first touchdown, Return of the Mac is getting played on a loop in my household.
Can we put his first touchdown as the first thing you see on the channel?
Dude, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. Sorry.
If he gets a touchdown,
Nobody's saying he's the guy, but I mean,
I will say, he was wide open on the two plays.
Several times.
Yeah, when they ran him out of a tight end on run.
So who would you
passing play? He was wide open.
So you're telling me you'd rather? So you're telling me. So we're clear. You would rather have Durham Smythe running patterns for you than Mac Hollins? Really? Okay.
I did not know Mac Hollins was a tight end. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, I didn't know he was a permanent option at tight end until you came on here tonight. So, I mean, hey,
apparently,
we haven't seen it.
I mean, he's been more productive too.
Offensively, we hadn't seen him deployed in any other format except
I
tight end.
agree, but he has 3 or 4 more snaps at tight end in the NFL than I do right now.
I would like to see him in goal line situations.
Absolutely.
I want to see Fitz target him when he's running a route because I've seen him open.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, this is what I'm saying.
Separations better than Preston.
Telling you.
Well, it's not if I want to see if he can catch the ball, Liam. It's I want to see if he gets up after the hit.
Hands are also
well, that's I can't defend that. That's legitimate.
Look, he's impressed. He has impressed.
I have no rebuttal
when he's
for
been
that.
on the field this season. He has.
I will say this: in that Jags game, that Gaskin run to seal the game, and Justin will probably back me up because he watched the all 22. Yeah. That was the biggest run in the second half.
Yep.
Yeah.
All joking aside, he opened up the biggest hole in the second half. So
have him there. Have him out there. We're running the ball.
He's a big boy. He is a big.
He's a big, and I told you, man, he's a big dude, man. How tall is he? 6'6". He's about 235.
He's a blazer too.
Yeah, he's fast too, man.
Yep.
So
yeah,
he definitely athleticism and explosiveness. He definitely offers you more than Durham Smythe will, and Adam Shaheen.
Exactly, which is my primary point.
Don't be surprised if he becomes a number 2 later on in the season.
Well, we brought Adam Shaheen for the red zone. We're getting into the red zone. We're not using Adam Shaheen.
That's what I thought we got him for. Because Smythe couldn't Smythe didn't have the hands.
Yeah, and then you
for the goal line.
Do you think that we brought him in so late? He doesn't know the playbook like that.
I was gonna say, does Mac Hollins remind you anything of like maybe a Chase Claypool out of this year's
Exactly.
Yeah, he does.
Exactly. Very similar players.
If they
Very
want to
similar players.
do it. If
I
they want to
agree.
use it, it would be awesome. I'm all
That's
for
spot
it.
on. That's spot on right there. Very similar
might be bigger
players.
than him too.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool, for those of you guys who don't know in the comments, Chase Claypool came out as basically a wide receiver, but he was used wide receiver, slot, tight end, and now he's
tight end.
Now he's mainly a tight end slot in Pittsburgh.
The Steelers have a nose for receivers.
Hey, are we going to see Jakeem Grant end around ever again, or it just worked once, so we're going to throw it away?
I don't think you want to know my opinion. I don't think Fitz and the staff trust Jakeem. That's why I don't think he's targeted, and that's why I was surprised last game when they started off. It looked like it was a designed pass play to Jakeem. It threw me for a shock because if you were watching the first 3 games, I got the impression that the staff and Fitz don't really trust him. That's why, I told everyone if you go through Fitz's progressions, it looks like it's Devontae, then it's either Ford or Preston, and then it's Gesicki, and then Jakeem has a chance to get a look if he's out there. Yeah. So
Jakeem's definitely the last.
He needs to stop looking at Preston, that's for sure. He needs to move him down.
The crazy thing is Jakeem's always open too.
Yeah, but it's just the hands, you know. And I've said this before the season when I said, you know, he's a workout tape all pro. But when you need that dude to make that catch in that pressure situation, is he that? Do you trust his hands? I don't.
Well,
that's why they got him on kickoff returns.
When he's punt
what was that
returning.
play
Oh
he
my
made
God.
in Buffalo on that play to the right? Like we were kind of entering the red zone. He dove out there and caught the ball. Looked pretty good on that play.
Yeah. I mean, his athleticism would demand the ball in some situation, though. You can draw something up for him.
He scares me when kickoff and punt return.
Well, other than Parker, I mean, he's been the one that's been getting consistent.
Yeah, he had 12 targets last game, Parker.
Separation. I mean, at some point, if a player, I mean, he's that open, that consistent, you got to give him an opportunity.
Besides,
you can't sit out there and ignore him, bro.
And what it is,
Exactly.
like I've said before, if everyone goes back historically through Fitz's career, he likes big body receivers. He doesn't like the smaller end. He doesn't target guys on the smaller end. That's why when he was in Tampa and Mike Evans popped off the way he did for those first few games with Godwin, that was because those are the prototypical receivers that he targets.
Oh,
Brandon Marshall, Aaron Deckers.
Tua might look
Stevie
more
Johnson.
towards Grant when
Yeah.
Tua gets
That's
in
what I
for
was gonna
sure.
say. Do you think Grant is a Tua receiver?
Yeah, I was just
absolutely
I made
burner.
I made that point. That's why
That's
I
possible.
wouldn't. That's why I'm not bailing on Jakeem Grant yet. I want to see what if
Yeah.
Tua is.
And they also why Albert Wilson will be a factor in too.
Man, if we had Albert Wilson that season.
I think Albert's gone, boys.
Albert
Well, we
Wilson
have
would-
him for many years.
He's probably gone.
They even gave his. I know he's
Yeah.
not active, so you can do it. They even gave his number to Lynn Bowden and said,
Damn.
Yeah, we ain't coming back.
I mean, honestly, I think they're grooming.
That's the
Eventually, they're
treatment right
grooming
there.
Malcolm Perry
I agree.
to be Tua's slot guy. They're gonna, and I've said this, I think last week or a few weeks before, where all these guys that Tua had this chemistry with in training camp, you know, they're biding their time. They're on the practice squad. Malcolm Perry's biding his time on the bench. But these guys, when Tua gets in there, you're going to see more of the Lynn Bowden, more of the Malcolm Perrys of the world. Maybe you might have a Kirk Merritt sighting at some point this season. Guys that he already has chemistry with to make him feel more comfortable.
Yep.
Mac Hollins made the team because of Tua, basically.
Well, I
Just
said
flashing with them.
Yeah, I said that. I mean,
Yeah, he did.
I basically said that he put Perry on everyone's radar. He put Gaskin on everyone's radar, and Mac Hollins owns the last spot in that receiving core to Tua Tagovailoa. I hope they took him out for Wingstop at least. If they weren't getting him.
Oh, you don't even know. Mac Hollins, you know, he steps into the wing stop. The wings are on him every time. You don't have to put no money down on the table.
So that wide
Come on,
receiver
man.
problem right now.
Hey, speaking of Bolden, the over/under is 1.5 on Wildcat plays.
Hold on a
You
second.
guys take
Yo,
it?
Justin, you're breaking up, bro. You're coming in and out.
I was going to say that we need to get wide receiver separation right now. Not getting a lot of separation on routes. The average yard per wide receiver, like 0.9 yards. Like, they got to do something a little bit better.
It's not a good mixture when you're not getting much separation and you're only getting about 2.5 seconds to throw the football. So,
I mean, do we think is he actually getting 2.5 seconds to throw the ball, or is he just getting rid of it really quick because he doesn't trust the line? I feel like they're giving him more time. Honestly, when I watch it, I don't know if they're actually like that bad, but I feel like he could have more time. But I don't know if he can even get the ball further.
I mean, he had from Jesse Davis alone, the right tackle alone, he had 6 pressures.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And one of those pressures cost him. One of those pressures was Jesse Davis got beat by his man, and that's the guy who whacked Fitz in the arm when he took the interception.
the interception.
And Jesse Davis is the one guy I don't like for sure.
And just think if Fitz wasn't able, he wasn't mobile. Can you imagine what much of a disaster it would be? Because Fitz has bailed this offensive line out a lot.
He's our number 2 rusher right now, bro. He's our number 2 rusher.
A lot.
And I also
That's
take
so
into-
bad,
I also
dude.
take
Come
into,
on.
The fact that the running game is not getting off too, because if we had, for example, we was running the ball more efficiently on Seattle. Seattle defense would have been more honest when it comes to defending the pass because we abandoned it. I think after the first half, and then all they did was just go to the zone and just blitz four. Not blitz four, but send four. So, like I said, we should have ran the ball more. And I think after we put Howard in, it just messed up the whole running game. Just the whole energy just went out.
Yeah, why are we still running Howard? He should be just for goal line.
Yeah, I should never
They
play.
did, but I think they was trying to get him some touches. Try to get him in the get him some rhythm or something like that. But
I say it should be just Gaskin and Breida, and just
yeah,
keep
I agree.
Howard for like inches to the goal line. I don't know.
Because you looked at Breida coming out the back in that pass. I think he got like 11 yards off when he came out the backfield. I mean, you seen it. There was a rhythm with Gaskins and Breida, and as soon as Howard got in the game, it just went downhill from there.
Right. I think you just don't run Howard at all.
Exactly.
And I don't know why they keep giving Howard these damn goal line reps, bro. To me, Gaskins is playing like the more his style is more suited. He looks like the better version of a power player than Jordan Howard.
Because they picked up Jordan Howard for that reason.
And it's funny because
I want his reps eliminated. I don't want to see him on the field at all, bro.
And I'm done with Gaskins. Gaskins is built like a speedy finesse type running back,
but he don't play like it.
He runs like a power back. I mean, I don't understand it, but hell, it's working.
Yeah, he's definitely he's just the better. Again, he had. In my opinion, Gaskins is everything you want in a running back. He just don't have ideal size.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the more balanced. He's the more balanced player. He can absorb contact so much better. Again, like I said, he looks like he's the one that's 225 or 230 pounds.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
When he was trucking,
and Jordan Howard is playing like the scat back. You know what I mean?
When
Howard
Gaskins literally
again.
When Gaskins trucked the Seahawks linebacker, man, I was like, is this guy did Howard and Gaskins like swap jerseys or something? Because he's running like how Howard is supposed to be running.
Yep.
It's I don't. It's just his how his mindset is.
I tell you, I gotta be honest.
Run small.
I gotta be honest. Jordan Howard needs to be brought up on charges for how he has just robbed us blind, bro. He hit that safe. He went up there with that ski mask and that Mac 10,
all time, bro.
And he hit that safe for $10 million. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
ridiculous.
Every time he got the ball, it's a -1, -2. I was like, man,
I don't want to see him again.
And then that screen pass, man, that was embarrassing.
I'm sending him home. I want him sent home immediately. I want him sent home immediately.
That literally was like the stand-in of Bobby McCain hitting Ballage. That's how bad it was.
Ballage will do better than Howard, honestly.
I don't know. They're about the same to me.
I don't know, man. Pretty equal there.
I don't know. I mean, that's a toss-up.
I'm just saying.
That's a toss-up, but at least with Ballage, we wasn't paying him $10 million. You know what I mean? So, man, that's a toss-up right there.
And let's be real here. We was using them in the goal line situation.
Let me let's transition real quick to Tua Tagovailoa. There's been a lot of chatter the last 2 days, the last week, about there's a high level of concern about whether Tua is a long-term solution at that position for us because of his inability to get on the field to this point. So my question to the roundtable, I'll start with the homie Havoc. What are your thoughts in regards to this particular issue?
You're muted. You muted him.
You muted.
Yeah.
You muted, bro. You
We
muted.
can't hear you, bro.
He's going in.
You
too.
muted, bro. I know.
Muted, bro.
Muted.
I think
You
can hear
muted,
him.
bro.
I think you can hear him.
Oh,
You're
no.
muted.
Dog.
You're muted.
You might have some delay or something.
That's
Hear me?
major delay.
I
Yeah,
can hear
you're
you.
good now, bro.
Okay. So
There you go.
on the question of the quarterback situation. So everything that you're hearing is a false narrative. They are leading you in the wrong direction. They're selling you a bill of goods they cannot cash. When they tell you that he's a bust, when they tell you that they tell you that he can't beat out Fitz, they don't know this. They're lying to you. The organization has a plan for Tua Tagovailoa that extends his development plan extends into the regular season. If we had a preseason, he might be might be with the team earlier, but we don't have a preseason this year, so his development schedule extends into the season. And the hope is that Fitzpatrick can play well enough that they get to a point where they can bring him in. But as I've heard earlier, he only knows 40% of the playbook. So, we're in a situation. I've heard, the Justin Herbert. I've heard the Justin Herbert thing, but Justin Herbert, in my opinion, Tyrod Taylor shouldn't even grab a helmet or a uniform. He should call Salino and Barnes. He should call Jacoby and Myers, because that doctor punctured his lung and he lost his job because of that. So, the whole Justin Herbert thing, they run in about 15 plays for him. That's about the truth of the matter. So
teams are catching on to it too.
yeah, like this whole Tua thing, this is just a generated controversy for clicks and views. Don't believe it because it's not real.
They just mad because Rosen on the practice squad. We all know.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, Pyro?
Let's be real here, guys. This man did not play. He did not finish his college season. He was rehabbing. He hasn't played football in months. So he's got to get back in football shape. It's going to take time. And he has to learn an NFL offense, which is different from a college offense. There's we all know this. The NFL is a whole nother animal compared to college. We all know this. But these people, these so-called experts, are so hell-bent on trying to get some clicks and trying to get this controversy and stuff, trying to get these fan bases to eat each other.
Exactly.
I don't understand why we just, and then it's funny because before the draft, when I think it was either we could have got Joe Burrow or whatever before the placements of the picks was. They was hell-bent. Oh, we can sit him. Let's sit him. We can sit him. Let Fitzpatrick start. But as soon as this season starts, now it's all of a sudden let's start him. I don't understand. I just don't understand why these people are so hell-bent on trying to start these rookies. You are, and I said it before, San Diego.
You know what the sad thing is, Pyro? You could tell and you could prove to each and every one of these, that report is true, because I pretty much believe it's true, because Omar said he talked to someone involved with the team that Tua only knows 40% of this playbook. You got a guy who knows not only 100% of the playbook, but like I said, he has the trust of the coaching staff, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback coach. The quarterback coach, people forget, he was in New York when Fitz was there. So you got the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator. Like, here you go. The quarterback coach was talking about today about Tua. He was saying that Tua has noticed there's a lot of similarities to certain plays that he ran at Alabama. You know what they do? They skip over those. They figure, okay, you're comfortable. He says, yeah, I remember this, like, similar concept from Alabama. He shows he's comfortable with it. And you know what they do? They move on because they know there's a 60% left of the playbook that they got to figure out. So even stuff that he's showing familiarity with, they're trying to figure out the stuff that he's not familiar and uncomfortable with right now. So that's where they're at in this process. Like, people are out here, oh, he was taken number 5 overall. He should be starting right away. No, EM talked about it earlier. There's expectations now with this roster turnover of getting more than the 5 wins we had last year. Right now, the guys who's the better NFL player, which is different than being the better passer, the better NFL player right now is Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's better pre-snap. He's better post-snap. He's any look, whether it's exotic or disguised, he's seen it before. Okay, rookies haven't. Right now, if you think you can win ball games, especially against a banged-up San Francisco, obviously they're going to go with the guy who's been around for 15 years and knows the playbook like his back of the hand, compared to the guy who only knows 40% and has never had a live rep before at the NFL.
And also, no matter what you think of Fitz's career, Fitz is still playing well enough for the Miami Dolphins to win.
He only had one bad game. Yeah. He only had one bad game, bro. And I don't want to hear the first game was bad, because in the third quarter, the defense, because they were getting gashed by the run, they only gave our offense 1 minute and 25 of possession in the third quarter. And then on top of that, 2 of the 3 interceptions, Preston fell in running his route. Okay, and it was tight man where Fitzpatrick threw before he made the break, so we couldn't afford for him to slip. And number 3 interception when he targeted Gesicki, that was a pass interference on Jackson. It's not even close, bro. So
that's true, but he had other receivers open at the same time, where those plays shouldn't have even.
That's also
happened.
true. They're both true.
Yeah, but the thing with the Gesicki play, and I've talked about this. When you're a quarterback, you're taught if you make your read and there's pass interference, you throw the ball there, bro.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because that's free yardage. That's free yardage. You get a free play and you get free yardage.
You saw Brady do that routine. You saw Brady do that several
Brady
times
did it all the time. Aaron Rodgers will do that all the time too.
Yeah.
Brady did it tonight. It ain't work, but he tried it tonight.
Brady don't know what down it is. Brady's got all types of problems.
Let's be real here.
Vic, hold on a sec. Vic, really, you're killing me. Tua is a much better QB than Fitz. First of all, okay, no one.
Talent.
First of all, no one can in this community can educate, and you can call me arrogant, whatever. No one can educate me on Tua, because me and the man next to me right now with the Devontae picture, we ride the bandwagon, so no one knows this kid better than us. Second of all, right now, this isn't about talent. Listen to what we're talking about. You're talking about putting out a guy who only knows 40% of the playbook. You're going to put out a guy who's going to see, what are they going to do? They're going to throw exotics. They're going to throw disguised looks. What he sees post-snap is going to be totally different than what he sees pre-snap. And on top of that, you're throwing him out there with a dumbed-down, simplified playbook. That's a recipe for disaster, man.
And
talk to me when he knows 80% of the playbook right now.
And also combine that with the lack of stability we're seeing.
Austin Jackson's out too, bro. Jesse Davis, the guy who's going to be blocking. Check this out. Jesse Davis, who's going to be blocking to his blind side, has given up 15 pressures in 4 games. Right? He's given up 6 hits and 9 hurries.
Give me that left.
We don't want Jesse Davis guarding.
Hold on. And that's where, you know why there's no sacks there? Because why? Because with a right-handed quarterback, you can see that oncoming traffic. With a left-handed quarterback, if you don't feel it, you're done, buddy. And 16 pressures against a left-handed quarterback, I don't care who you are, you're not evading all 16 of those.
We don't want Jesse Davis guarding to his blind side.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me say this, Tranquilize.
Absolutely not.
When you came on, Tranquilize, and we talked about Eric Flowers, I brought up Jesse Davis, and I brought up how the first interception Fitz threw was because Jesse Davis got beat by his man, and his man hit Fitz's arm, right?
Yep.
Now, what if that happens, and now it's Fitz, and now it's Tua, where the arm's on the other angle, it's on the other side of the ball, and that's just you wrap him from behind, and you drive him to the ground. That's not – I'm not going for the arm. I've got you're right there. You're looking what you're doing. You're in throwing motion. Buddy, I'm hitting you from behind, like at the same level your ribs are, and I'm taking you the fuck out. So, I mean, it's a totally different situation. Even that interception turns to when now it's a blind side of. So, the right side isn't where it needs to be right now either. So I'll say that as well. There's multiple.
Is Panay Sewell, is he a left or a right tackle?
He can be anything,
he's a left.
Really.
He's a left, but you can kick to right. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna ask, if we have the number 1 pick with Houston, do you think we draft him and put him on the right side?
I do.
school?
I'm not. No, absolutely not. If that pick is in the top, if that pick is in the top 5, there is no way, and it's not an indictment on this kid's ability, but there is no way under the sun the Dolphins should waste that pick, especially and it all depends on what you're being offered. If they are offered a king's ransom, there is no way in the world you make that you waste that pick on one player.
And I gotta say this first before I cover this. Vic says, but his talent is 110% better than Fitz. He can win more games than Fitz all day. Really, Vic? Last I checked, 40%? No one on the. Hold on.
What?
Let's get away from the 40%.
Wait, we would have won the last game
no.
if you would have just ran the ball gasket 20 times.
No, let's get away from this for a sec. Has Vic seen Tua play live reps and we haven't or something? Because I can't sit here and say he would have won more games all day because last I checked, no one on this panel has seen Tua take even a single NFL rep. So, I mean, I can't sit here and say that. Yeah, I can say the film that I saw from the collegiate level is one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen coming into a draft. But there's a reason why I said Fitz admitted, and I quote, there's throws Tua can make that there's a million throws Tua can make I can't. So it's not a talent issue right now. Right now, it's the fact that he's 40% caught up on the playbook. Okay. And right now, there's a difference between being the best quarterback or the best player and being the best NFL player.
Exactly.
And right now, Fitz is the better NFL player.
Yep.
Yeah. You could still be talented and still 40%. Play terribly.
40%.
Jerome Baker.
Yeah, look at this. This guy's saying put him in, and he knows 40% of the playbook.
Bro.
He knows 40% of the playbook, and you want to put him in. I thank God people that are saying that are not involved with this organization because, I mean, so then what? You put him in with 40% of the playbook. He faced disguise coverages. He gets killed by defenses. Now what? He's a bust because y'all wanted to rush him in when he wasn't caught up on the playbook. Like, I don't understand, man. Like, y'all guys are there's no patience at all. It's unbelievable. And I said, even back to the other platform, I don't give a fuck who you are. You could be Trevor Lawrence, and I'm sitting you for a full year.
And reason again. These are, and I don't know. I'm not sure if Vic was one of these individuals, but you get. This fan base has absolutely no patience when it comes to this player, but they wanted to give Josh Rosen 10 years.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And here's another thing, EM.
Come on,
Guess
man.
what? Guess what, EM? Guess what, EM?
Yikes.
What happened last year when they put out a guy who wasn't fully acclimated with the offense, wasn't that good at all pre-snap and post-snap, couldn't read a defense if you literally wrote out the script in front of him and taped it to his helmet so he could read it before he walked out there. What happened when they gave that guy 3 games?
But reason he had a good quarter. He had a good quarter in Dallas.
And what happened when they put out a guy there for 3 games who wasn't ready? What happened?
Well,
not only did they further further stunting his growth and development. He ended up going packing not too long after.
That's a good point.
Because he wasn't ready.
He's running scout team now.
He wasn't ready. Now he's on the practice squad.
He's running scut team now.
Jake Ruddock beat him out.
And also, to this talent narrative, we can agree that Rosen was a better talent than Fitz. We could agree on that. He was a better talent. How'd that work out?
Talent didn't have a player.
So at the end of the day, man, look. Again, the people that are driving this narrative that are up front trying to drive this narrative in our fan base. They didn't want Tua in the first place.
Vic, I like you, but bro, when you say Tua is better at 40% than Fitz at 100%, and you've never seen Tua take one NFL snap. And Vic, this is no knock. I know I've watched a ton more tape than you, brother. So I don't know what you've seen or what you know that I don't, because you're literally, that's not even your opinion, bro. You're basing this on literally a shallow hypothetical. You're literally basing this. We're beyond the point of opinion right now. Now we're at the point of people are putting out hypotheticals with no basis to them, except their subjective idea of when Tua is ready and why. You're not looking at this objectively, because if you were, you would say, yeah, I'm not putting a quarterback out there at 40% with his playbook, a dumbed down playbook against defenses that, guess what? Every defensive player on that side of the ball knows 100% of their defensive playbook.
And you know, another thing people are saying is that the things that Flores has come out in the last couple of days and said about Tua Tagovailoa, they're saying what he's saying is eerily similar to what he said consistently about Josh Rosen last year.
Yeah.
And people are concerned about that.
We've played this game before.
Honestly,
I don't think Flores wants. Yeah, I don't think Flores wants to have another young quarterback on his jacket that didn't work out. So he's going to go through all the precautions. He's going to get him on a development program. He's going to put him in the best possible position he can to succeed. What is wrong with that plan?
I know, right? Mm-hmm. And he gave Josh Rosen the exact same treatment, to be honest with you.
Bro, I gotta say, I would hate to see these people as kids on Christmas morning, bro. Everything would already be open under the tree, bro. You walk down at 6 a.m., everything's open, bro.
You know what?
I don't like the Josh Rosen and Tua.
Come on, man.
Because we still haven't even seen Tua play. We know what we had in Rosen.
Finish your thought, EM, sorry?
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, that he gave Rosen every opportunity that you could possibly give a player. Period. Uh-huh. The only difference between Tua and the Josh Rosen situation was that I think you're not hearing the private conversations about him being disappointed with, number one, his work ethic. Remember the consistent reports, Reason, about they were coming out and people just totally ignored that, about how Brian Flores was so frustrated with this kid's lack of work ethic. Yeah. Okay.
And leadership.
And leadership, et cetera, et cetera. Tua is not checking those boxes that Josh Rosen did.
Period. Did you read Cameron Wolf's article today?
I didn't.
So Cameron Wolf basically regurgitated everything I've been telling you guys, where Tua's been on the sideline. He gets to play through his headset when they're out on the field, obviously. He's standing next to Flores. He's looking at his armband. He knows what everyone's running. He has a view where he's seeing the defense as well. He's telling Flores as he stands there what he would do in that situation after the ball snaps. And then when Fitz is off the field, he's sitting there with Fitz and he's breaking down. And then it went into Fitz. Fitz talked about how Tua asks more questions than he ever had. And Fitz has said Fitz is talking more than he ever has in between drives, in terms of he's trying to keep Tua up to speed with everything he's seeing on the field as well. So Fitz has even said that I'm talking more than I ever have. And that's because, and it's like I told you, what did Jerome Baker say in the Zoom that I sat in yesterday, EM? He said that after every practice, Tua's taking the defensive players aside, the ones, bro. He's taking the ones, he's pulling them aside. He said, what can I do better? And he's asking all the defensive players, what can I do better? But here's another thing that was mentioned in the Zooms yesterday. I believe it was Jesse Davis, said he's not getting a lot of reps with the ones right now. A lot of them are going to Fitz. Because, like I told everyone, EM, when the season started, we're into week 4. put this into perspective, EM. In a 17-week season, you can only have 14 padded practices. Now, I spoke with Richmond Webb about all this. And I implore everyone, go listen to the Finish Line on Spotify, iTunes, wherever. Listen to what Richmond Webb has to say about the Tua situation, because he's on all of our side over here. He's on our side. And this is a guy who was a rookie at the NFL level. This is a guy who's seen rookies play around him, who's gone through the ups and downs, seen players go through the ups and downs. And he said, you want to know what he said? Richmond Webb said he wouldn't give in to the pressure even if we lost this week. You know why? Because the 40% playbook. He said that's not good enough right now.
It's not. It's not.
And you think about it. Brian Flores probably set up his development in a way where he didn't have to throw the whole kitchen sink at Tua. He says, you know what?
Exactly.
Our plan is not to start you week 1.
Right.
We're going to have a comprehensive development plan with you that is going to extend into the regular season, and you will learn
and mentally.
Yeah, and you will learn at a pace that we dictate, that is not dictated by the fan base, is not dictated by the national media that we dictate.
I think
Very
Havoc,
good point, Rhino.
I'm
sorry,
Havoc.
My name's not Rhino, bro.
I think Havoc's 110% right, but I think that plays off of what EM was saying in terms of Flores legitimately thought they were going to be competitive with Fitzpatrick. So there was no need to accelerate that timetable. They saw the 5 wins out of the last 6. They saw the roster turnover. They saw the Chan Gailey coming in and his familiarity with Fitz. And they're like, you know what? We're probably going to win 8 or 9 games. We can take our sweet-ass time. And then they also thought they were probably going to at least have 2 preseason games if they didn't have 4.
Yeah.
Then all that got wiped out. And they're like, so not only are they 1-3, and albeit, like I said earlier, guys, if you go by the power rankings, we lost to 2 top 5 teams and basically another team around the top 10. And another thing to throw at you guys, for everyone jumping off board right now, we've lost. If you look at us in the Cleveland Browns, for example, so right now we currently sit at a negative 3-point differential. What that means is we've had 3 more points scored on us than we've scored. Okay. Well,
Close
thing is the teams we've lost to, the 3 teams we've lost to, guys. Sorry, hold on. All the teams we played have a record right now of 11-4. Okay. And we're 1-3. The Browns, they're 3-1. With only a minus 2-point differential, so only 1 point difference. But here's the difference, guys. The teams they've played are a combined 6-9-1. Okay? So they're not even combined. Their opponents aren't even at a 500 record. Our combined 11-4, guess what that is, guys? That's a team fighting for a first-round bye.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and on top of that, like I said, last year, we lost our first 3 games by an average of 39 points a game. This year, we've only lost an average of 7 points a game. And 2 of those games, we allowed 217 yards on the ground. And another one, we let Josh Allen have a record-setting day for himself passing the football. So,
winnable games, too.
Let's start putting things into context a little bit more here, people, other than just stat line watching. You know what I mean?
Context is everything.
Let's be real here. We said it before all this came out. Without preseason, OTAs, minicamp, all those taken out into factor, Tua was not going to start. We didn't have that, and this team and most of this team is just being put together. We're the youngest team in it. Well, I think second youngest.
Yeah, second youngest.
Youngest team in the NFL, and we're playing close with competitive teams, like you said, that may get a first round bye in the playoffs.
And I bet you when Fitz leaves, we drop to the youngest team.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. It's I mean, we're in our rebuild. And you know, this isn't
I
Madden
disagree.
franchise mode. We can't just sim seasons here. You got to go through the process.
I don't think,
and we're seeing progress.
I don't think that's the mindset of this coaching staff. I don't think they look at this team and say this is a rebuilding. We're in the middle of a rebuild. I told y'all this from day one. The mindset that this coaching staff have, you do not make the moves that they made in free agency.
Yeah.
And you think you are still that team we saw at the beginning of last year. No, absolutely not. I think that is, and I
think the goal. I think the goal was at least 500 this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
I agree with
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. That's not a rebuilding team. So I think, and if you look at the approaches from last year to this year, last year we heard in regards to Josh Rosen, we knew that Rosen was clearly outplayed by Fitz during training camp last year. If you believe the multiple reports that came out consistently leading up to week 1 last year, what'd they do? They threw Rosen out there. They started him. Why? Because there were no expectations. Absolutely none. Fast forward to this year. Same scenario. You got a rookie quarterback battling out with that wily old veteran who people want to call trash, right? Fitzpatrick is clearly outplaying Tua in training camp. Okay? So what's the difference now? The difference is we have expectations. They're not just going to throw a player out there that's not ready, that's only grasping 40% of the playbook. That's not going to get you wins in the NFL. So I keep telling y'all, that's not the mindset of this staff. They feel like they can win with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Whatever your opinion is over his career, they feel like Brian Flores feels like he can win with him. And until Tua is out, and I fully anticipate this to, come to fruition. Tua will at some point get caught up to speed and start outplaying his natural gifts, and the natural talent will take over, and he will clearly separate himself from Ryan Fitzpatrick at some point. It just hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, I think the main issue is, particularly with our team, is Tua Tagovailoa doesn't play middle linebacker. He doesn't play defensive tackle.
Was he back there giving out
the whole E-line?
And
did he play?
And as long as our run defense looks the way it looks right now, it don't matter who's playing quarterback. We're not winning a whole lot right now.
Love of God,
we're not winning a whole lot right now with that with Jerome Baker patrolling the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like
I think he's gone next year.
It's just like when I say we're in a rebuild.
I'm talking about this 49ers game. Do not start them, please.
Oh yeah, no. It's just when I say we're a rebuild. I mean we have so many pieces that we brought on.
I get you. I get it.
Can we hope that the Texans just do so bad that we can get Micah Parsons, please?
Yeah,
please.
I'd love to have.
That would be a great.
I would like to have Parsons, but I want.
You know what though? Hey,
I'm with Reese with that online, man.
This is what I thought about the other day. Since the Texans, they are in tank mode. Well, I don't know why. Right? They have no choice to be in tank mode now, right? So if I'm the Dolphins, if you go back to that Laramie Tunsil trade, who was the player? And I touched on this when we was on TD's platform. I said the player that what I heard that the Dolphins were who they wanted initially in that trade was Bendark McKinney, that middle linebacker they have. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm calling the Texans and asking them to come back to the negotiating table.
Not for a first round.
No.
Oh, okay.
First round, no.
I mean, Bill O'Brien's gone now, so they probably won't do anything dumb anymore.
No.
That's
a third round pick.
Okay, now we talking.
Is Bill O'Brien our GM again now? Is he already?
He's gone, man. He's
fired him, bro.
No,
you know what?
No,
We should have got that deal done before they fired him.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A whole bunch of GMs saying that.
They called back every day after Tunsil trade, asking.
A whole bunch of GMs. A whole bunch of GMs wish Bill O'Brien was still in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this guy traded DeAndre Hopkins for a ham sandwich.
Oh yeah, let me touch on that. Let me touch on that earlier. So, there's a couple scenarios. If I got one, yes, I am taking Penei Sewell. I think he's the best player I've seen, best tackle I've seen since Orlando Pace, and he's the best player I've seen in the last 10 years. and I can kick him to right tackle, and now I got that block. Because here's my thing. I'm not taking a wide receiver in the top 3. I'm probably not taking a linebacker in the top 3. I would rather take that between 5 to 8. 5 to 10. I'm clearly not taking a running back anywhere near the top of the first round. You're not going to take a nose tackle. Marvin Wilson is a 4-3 defensive tackle. You could probably convert him, but I'm not taking him in the top 3. Now, if someone offers me, to sit at the table and talk with me, if I got that number 1 pick, we gotta start at 4 first rounders, and that starts where one of those needs to be a top 10 this year, the other one needs to be a top 20 this year, and then I want your first next year and your first the year after, and that's the talk. Now we're talking because I might want pieces off your roster. Example. Now, would I draft Trevor Lawrence? 99.9% of the time, no. What's the 0.1%?
Keep him away from the Jets.
Exactly. If I get no offers, that even are worth me moving off that number 1, and the Jets are number 2, okay, then I gotta pull that trigger because I'm not taking a first or 1 or 2 first rounders moving back and then letting this guy fall to the Jets or some crap like that.
Are you that scared? Are you really that scared of Trevor Lawrence? Really?
Trevor Lawrence is going to be a top 5 quarterback.
He's
not really scared of it, but I'd rather him be out of the division.
He's the best prospect since Elway.
Get him out of here.
In 5 years, he will be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, just get him out of our division.
So do you not think Tua will be as well?
No.
I think so.
So
that's fine.
So why are you worried about Trevor Lawrence?
Well, you're talking about taking Trevor to flip him, right?
I'm flipping him, bro.
Yeah.
Just get him out of our division.
Bro, I'm drafting him, and I'm flipping him at some point now. That's what I'm doing, bro. Yeah. I'm not. No. I'm not. Bro, I'm flipping him, bro. All I'm doing is drafting him to keep him to number 2.
Yeah, you keep out the AFC.
And now I'm flipping him.
Now. Okay. Well, deal would definitely have to be in place.
Yeah.
I would have to have a wink,
hint,
backdoor handshake type of deal already established before I
Detroit is going to have to pay up.
This is the point. And now here's the other thing. Now, if the Jets want to sit there and talk at the table with me, this is where I'm starting. Those 4 first round draft picks. Mekhi Becton.
Washington is going to have to pay up.
And I want Mekhi Becton, those 4 first-round draft picks, and I want Ashton Davis.
Don't they have 2 this year as well? Don't they have 2 first-round picks?
Let's just bring Adam Gase back, just because.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Of course.
Did you see the video of him with the smelling salts?
No, I'm joking.
Oh my God.
I posted it today, bro. The only way I'm bringing Adam Gase back is if I can line him up in front of Hard Rock, right in front of a firing squad. Other than that, I'm not bringing Adam Gase back to Miami, bro.
Why is Adam Gase huffing smelling salts on the field? I'm like, bro, you are not a player.
Bro, you see that? You see his eyes? Did you see his eyes after he did that, bro? Yo, did you see that, Ian?
I don't think
you see that?
He looked like Jim Carrey in the mask. With the eyes out.
Hey, his eyes was like Nico's profile.
Man. His eyes look like his eyes look like Jim Carrey in the mask, bro.
No,
things are bumping out.
His eyes were just like that seal on Nico's profile pic, man.
Yo, that guy loves cocaine.
I'm sure.
Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this.
What's he? Why is he looking around? There's mad cameras, Adam Gase.
Yo, ready for it? Here you go. Look at this. Hey, yo, give me that. You got the goods. Let me look. No, we're good.
No way.
Give me that shit.
No.
Let's go.
Dude.
Hey, real quick.
And it was in that moment he realized he needed to re-sign Kalen Balazs.
Oh.
No. Yeah, dude.
We need
I
a
was
drug test
wondering
that
why
man
Caden
immediately.
Blodge's on the Jets, but
Real
I get
quick.
it now.
We need a
Oh,
drug
yeah,
test
dude,
that
you're
man.
gonna
That guy.
wait.
So you
I'll get
remember?
back over
You
here.
remember? When
Adam
Gates was
Gase
still
hopes
the
they don't
coach,
start
right?
drug testing coaches.
So you
Hold on
remember?
a sec.
You remember
Hold on
when
a sec.
Gates was?
Hold on a sec. Hold on. Vic. Hold on. Now look at this narrative being spun here. It's like people only hear like half the story.
Put it up there. Put it on. Let me put his comment on the screen.
We are saying he isn't good at learning. We all know better. It's not true, guys. Hold on a second.
I've explained it several times.
Yo, go back and watch Justin Herbert, Vic. He's playing with a dumbed-down offensive playbook. Joe Burrow, as great as he's playing, is playing down with a dumbed-down playbook. Joe Burrow is playing because Andy Dalton, their Fitzpatrick, they traded away. They had no option. Herbert is playing because Tyrod got punctured in the lung. And now you're at where you're at, but they're still playing with a dumbed down playbook. This isn't about being slow at learning. I can probably guarantee. And here's another thing: he only had a week and a half or 2 weeks of reps with the number ones to end out training camp. Joe Burrow was working with the reps with the number ones all the way to when they were just doing film study before they even put the pads on. So like,
Rhino needs to you need to stop listening to TD Foolish talk so much. I think.
Vic, it's Vic.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm sorry. Did I say
Everyone's
what?
calling out Rhino today. Everyone's calling out Rhino.
I think I started this.
Rhino, my bad on me.
Yeah,
Vic. I think Vic is. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think he listened to TV too much.
No, you're faulting Flores for wanting Tua to be caught up on the playbook. Like that's crazy to me, man.
Yeah, man. But I'm gonna just say I'm about to get out of here, fellas. So as always, shout out to Australia.
Yeah.
Y'all know the vibes. Fins up.
All right, have it. Real quick.
Yeah.
Have it.
Yeah,
Did you get that pre-order?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't get it, bro. I want
it's
it.
supposed to be a second wave coming next week. I heard.
Bro,
bro.
I'm camping on Twitter.
It's not happening.
For when the word gets out.
It's not happening.
Hey.
You just
y'all be good though.
You too.
All right, homie, be good, homie.
All right.
Be good.
All right. Let's get. I'm gonna wrap it up anyways. We're at the 3 hour mark.
Yeah.
We'll go through. We'll start with you, Tranquilize. Give us your final thoughts.
I don't really have anything much to say. It was good being on the show and whatnot. Again,
Good
just
to have
wanted
you,
to
man.
point out.
Good to meet
Yeah. Thank you. I just want to point out again. For the past few years, I was just the whole time being like, God dang, our interior line is so bad. I'm very happy, although they're not the best. But I'm very happy with our interior line play right now. And they're good, and I'm happy to see decent interior line play. Hopefully we can see Tua at some point. Hopefully he's good. Can't say whether he's going to be good or not, of course. Just want to see the team be good, of course, in general. So anybody who does good, I'm open. Just anybody who does good. Just waiting for anyone really. So yeah, go Fins.
Pyro, what's good, buddy?
What's good, man?
Besides running the ball.
It's not that. Anyways, man. But we'll see what happens during this Sunday. Hopefully they can, toss in Hollins and they can get more running yards or something. I wouldn't bank on it, but hopefully they can do something. But I'm just tired of this whole Tua talk. Hopefully he gets in some point this season, shut him up. But I wouldn't mind him waiting the whole season. I wouldn't mind him not playing this whole season. I'm just at this point, I just want him to play so people can just finally shut the hell up about this quarterback talk. It's really getting annoying at this point. But so that's about it. And always root against the Texans.
Pyro's new outro. Nico, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Give us your final thoughts, bro.
And people need to stop listening to these people who overanalyze what Flores, what's coming out of the organization say about Tua. it's just getting ridiculous. It's a lot of false narratives, a lot of overthought narratives, and it's getting annoying. It's dividing the fan base for nothing. I think a lot of these people want to see Tua fail too. So
I agree. That's a good point, Nico. That's a good point.
They just want to be right. They didn't want him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're putting the ego over the logo right now, bro. Powerhouse, bro. It was awesome to have you on tonight, bro. Make it more often. Same with you, Tranquilize. But let's hear your final thoughts, Powerhouse.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and it was a good show. I'm confident that we can get this win against the 49ers. And about Tua, I'm just patient. We don't need to rush him. Like at first, I was worried, but when Flores came out and said the 40% him about learning the playbook, now I'm at ease. I'm like, okay, maybe we don't need to rush him. So yeah, it's just having patience. But again, thank you for having me, and it was nice being on.
Powerhouse. Was that you the other day? Was that you and I? We engaged the other day on Larry's platform.
Yeah,
was that you? Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's what's up.
It had nothing to do about Tua though. I was never a part of that. Oh, Tua's a bust, whatever. It was more so on you. You know, calling other people idiots. That's what it was. You know.
Oh yeah.
But y'all gotta remember. You gotta remember. Here's the thing: when he calls people idiots, like I will be the first one to say, I could rifle off some names for you guys, and it's totally justified. So, and some of them are over there, Powerhouse. So
yes, they are.
But one thing, I am guilty, and I think I said this on Larry's show. I'm immature at this point in my life in that regard. I admit.
No,
but
it's just being passionate about the game. That's all.
Well, it's also because of the immaturity we face dating back to last
exactly. See what y'all don't understand is if you were when I'm going at people like that, I make a statement like that. I always make the statement. You know who you are. I'm not calling everyone idiots. I'm calling the ones that came at us last year consistently with ridicule and all of that. They know who they are. So I'm not applying that to everyone, man. But at the end of the day, two wrongs don't make a right. At some point, we should all be, take the high road and not engage in that kind of stuff. But anyway, at the end of the day, just looking forward to Sunday, man. We need to just block out all of this foolishness that's this cloud of nonsense, this cloud of buffoonery that people are still stirring up, and they're pushing. It's just individuals with these platforms. That's why you don't give casual fans platforms, in my opinion. They are just, they're sticking their little bird chest out or attempting to, and they're trying to be right. They've been wrong so much, and they're trying to be right. You know what I mean? To try to bring some kind of credibility or something that them and their channel can hold on to. Well, I was right about Laramie Tunsil getting traded. Okay, you got lucky one time. You know what I mean? But anyway, we all as a fan base.
It's easy to be lucky when you just say everything possible. Like, this is going to happen. Everything is going to happen, period. Like, everything is going to happen.
Exactly. Oh, hey.
I wonder
Tranquilize. Don't go giving away the secret sauce, bro.
All right.
Come on, man. I know, right? No brands over here, bro.
You should start a.
I'm sorry.
We need at the end of the day, man. We just need to we need to block out all of that noise and just focus on our team. You know what I mean? And our team needs to get better, obviously. And so yeah, man, we just block out all the noise and just focus on our team, man, getting better week to week on a week to week basis. So at the end of the day, y'all
looking bright.
Oh yeah. Even we're sitting here 1-3, and you've heard me be extremely critical of this staff. There are plenty of positive things that we can take from our 1-3 record. To be honest with you, so Reason alluded to a lot of those positives, early on in the show.
Compared to the Browns alone, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Way more.
I want to say this though, Vic. I see you in the comments. You're a mod here. I love you, brother. I get the passion. I get you're probably coming from the stance where it's time. Fitz isn't the future. You probably want to spark. I get it, bro. All I'm saying is, we're in a situation right now where we're not winning, the AFC Championship, right? We're in a position where, we can wait until Flores thinks he's ready because we don't have any other options like the Bengals didn't have. We don't have our starting quarterback with a punctured lung like the Chargers have. You know what I mean? We don't have Aaron Rodgers by any stretch of the imagination, but we're in a similar situation they're in with Jordan Love where they don't have to rush it. Now, with Rodgers, they make it 2 or 3 years. With Fitz, this is it. This is all you got.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're in a position where, think about it this too, Vic. We're coming up against a banged up San Francisco, a banged up Denver, and, a banged up Chargers. They don't have Derwin James. And if you go look at their pass defense with Derwin James compared to without Derwin James, because you got a pretty big sample size between this year and last year so far, it's very, very different. So, they're probably – here's my thing. I know – and people seem to be forgetting. Remember what Flores said earlier this week, guys. Flores said they were going to have the discussion. Remember? He said we're still halfway going through the tape, but we're going to have the discussion tonight. He said, I would think Fitz is going to be the starter, but he mentioned they were going to have the discussion. So I will say
positive. That's positive.
I will say this. If you look at what I just said, where these are 3 winnable games we're coming up on, if we get blown out, guys, especially if Nick Mullins is back there, even at 40 or 50%, because now you're at 1-4, and they might. I don't think they will, but they're probably going to have an even deeper discussion about making that change. So,
and you would think, reason.
Here's the thing: just practice a little patience, because this is all I'll promise you, guys. It's coming sooner rather than it is later. If this record keeps up, even if Fitz isn't throwing 3 or 4 interceptions a game. So, and if this COVID stuff keeps popping off and they knock down to 12 games like they've been talking about, yeah, if we're sitting there at 1-6 and you only got 5 games left, they're probably going to want to see what they have. So it's very realistic, guys. It's very realistic.
And the fact that Flores, he would even entertain a conversation about inserting Tua, that's positive right there, because they're showing a level of confidence in him to this point.
Yeah.
If they didn't have any confidence in him at all, they wouldn't even be entertaining conversation.
And let's read a little deeper. Let's overanalyze. You got a guy who knows 40% of the playbook, and you're having that discussion. So clearly got to be confident in his talent to a certain extent. If he doesn't even know half of your playbook, and you're having a discussion of, hey, should we make a change?
Absolutely.
So it's not all as bad as people are trying to perceive it to be if they're having that discussion on a kid who only knows 40% of the playbook. He's obviously told them enough. Again, these are the ones that didn't want him in the first place. So, but at the end of the day, y'all know what it is. I won't say that because Vic and Larry, they weren't against drafting.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah. I know. We all know what you're talking about.
Right? Yeah. But y'all know what it is. All day, every day, baby. All day, every day.
All right,
yeah.
So we will be back. So the game's at 4:00 Eastern on Sunday, guys. I'll be here probably at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and we'll take it from there. Solomon Kinley film analysis next week, guys. And the usual stuff that y'all see. So y'all already know what time it is. It's Fins Up all day, every day.
Let's
go
get it.
Check out the Finish Line on all your major podcasts.
Absolutely.
The latest episode is called The QB Race. Go listen right now to what Richmond Webb said about this whole scenario, and even regarding if we lose this week, whether he'd go to Tua, you'd all be interested. And it's a guy who was a rookie at the next level. So you gotta take the man's word. He knows more about it than all of us combined. So go check that out, guys. All right.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Y'all on Sunday, everyone.
Fins up.